Yo, yo, yo. Thanks, Game Night. How you doing, man? All right. I know this is a late one. I was just listening to some podcasts, and I was just had this thought, and really just wanted to get it out there, because I was just thinking it, and I just want to get it on the show, and it's just kind of things that I was processing after yesterday's Xbox 2020, and where we're gonna go, and what could potentially happen. This is not a troll. This is really just kind of thinking of the timelines where this could go, and we could be looking back at this point in time similar. What's up, PlayStation 5 Ultimate Console Jesness? And yes, hashtag Jesness. And Cyber Dragon, what's up? Thank you, guys. It's late, I know. East Coast guys, they're probably like, what the hell's going on? But let me just get this out there. And for the guys on the East Coast, guys and girls on the East Coast, you can listen tomorrow morning. I'll share it when I wake up. But I just wanted to get these thoughts out here, and I really wanted to interact with, because I had these thoughts, but I have nobody to talk to about it. Just thinking about the situation, and I wanted to kind of get some of the chat in here and get your guys' opinion. I really want a conversation, and we're just gonna just hear me out here on this stuff. And again, this is not like teasing or anything like that. I just want to get this out there as something that could potentially happen, and we could be looking back at this point. With that. So with that intro, here it comes. All right. Oh, good. PlayStation's up. He's up. Okay. So not going to recap what happened yesterday. Well, no, we're going to have to a little bit, but I'm just, you have my stream before of what occurred in the Xbox 2020 with their Series X gameplay reveal, and the amount of just not like just the disgust and upset commentary from social media that all big YouTubers, people that don't even sometimes follow Xbox on YouTube, and just huge like websites, and everybody was just like disappointed. What was that? That wasn't it. And the thing is that unfortunately a lot of the things that were announced, like this is kind of the 24-hour fallout for what happened yesterday. The thing that occurred was that the disappointment of being promised, and it was more of the hypeness and the marketing of this show that really hurt them, getting all those dislikes and getting this kind of this snapback from the social media, from the gaming industry, getting this back on like, you said there was going to be next gen gameplay, tune in. And then Greenberg, Xbox.com, the games are going to change the world. Phil Spencer saying 2D games to 3D. This is going to be the next jump ahead. It's going to be more impactful. I don't think he's talking about at launch. I think he's talking about probably like 4 years from now. But he said it. And then he goes, oh, you're going to see games that we never shown before on an Xbox stage. Like all this hype and all this social media hype for this show that really didn't deliver on the promises that they made about you're going to see next-gen gameplay. Now, for me personally, I really wasn't too upset about the gameplay aspect, because there was gameplay in what they showed. There was gameplay. Like, it started with gameplay. The most disappointing part was the carrot that they dropped, which was Assassin's Creed. And they hyped Assassin's Creed as the headliner, and the headliner didn't deliver. You go to a comedy club and they say, here's the headliner, and you're getting all these other guys that, guys and girls are making you laugh at the comedy club, like, that's good. Oh, I can't wait. The headliner's got to be the funniest, right? Because he's the headliner. He or she is the headliner of the comedy club. Well, the headliner of the comedy club comes out, and it's just like, the guy, this person sucks. This person's not as funny. The other people gave me a good chuckle, but this guy was supposed to, he's the headliner. This is where I paid the ticket for the headliner, right? And that's what happened here. The headliner failed. And you could blame it on Ubisoft or the Assassin's Creed on what they promised and what they did. But Microsoft approved this. This was their show. They hyped it up. They knew what they had. And they're like, you want to see some gameplay? Come over here. And it wasn't, it was panovers. It was just like it was no gameplay. It was no like control, like from the perspective of the character. They do this kind of stuff probably to hide frame rates, to hide, maybe it's not running at optimized frame rate, and they do these kind of panovers and these snapshots and these things all to kind of hide and because they're directing the camera. It is not a user controlled experience, which that's what people want to see because that's what I'm going to play. And the same problem goes for trailers, and we see this across the industry where trailers will show this game and you're like, what the hell is this game? And then you realize we actually saw it yesterday. It's a top-down shooter that looks all right, but it's like, okay, well, that trailer really did not demonstrate what am I going to play. They do it all the time with some of these top-down games like Command and Conquer and stuff. They have all these amazing cinematics as battle scene, and you're like, holy crap, and then you realize you're controlling little ants on the ground. And Cyber Dragon says they don't need to wake the hell up. A lot of people are not falling for that bullshit, and exactly, the messaging is what hurt this show. The content, I had a problem with going like, if this is your third party, this was kind of the AA to indie third party partners. This is like you scoured Steam and looked for some games in development or coming out of early access. So this was kind of like the BC tier of third party relationships. This wasn't big third party deals. They weren't getting Capcom out there and Capcom showing them like Lost Planet 4 exclusive or something like that. Like, this wasn't big partners. These were kind of like, they got Bandai, but a lot of the stuff that they showed, we finding out today that a lot of the stuff that they showed yesterday really is not even exclusive. So there's not even a partnership or a deal. Yeah, Dirt 5, you know what I mean? Like, for a company that makes two of the best racing games, you're going to show Dirt 5. Dirt 5, Codemasters makes great games, but it's just kind of weird that, yo, what's up, guys? Code, how you doing, man? Good night, good morning, whatever's going on here. But I'm just leading into where I'm going with this stuff because just explain the 24-hour fallout of what happened and what's been going on. And the gameplay aspect of it, there wasn't a lot of it. And the Assassin's Creed really was the death blow of this. And it serves them right for depending on a friggin' third party to demonstrate. And this is what I've been saying on every one of these friggin' shows, and you guys will hear it, is that you cannot depend on third party to demonstrate your console. It's your console. You need to demonstrate it yourself. Because if you're not doing it, nobody else is going to do it. And this goes with a lot of facts in life. And Ubisoft is not going to... Ubisoft, first off, are basically the whores of the gaming industry. I come out with a friggin' brand new controller. Ubisoft is jumping right on that bullshit to be like, oh, I'll make a game for that controller. Ubisoft are the whores. The whoas of the gaming industry. They jump in anything that's new, anything that they jumped on the Wii U. Remember with that friggin' that zombie game where you're hitting people with the goddamn Wii U controller? They jumped in, what was that other game with the Wii where they had the gun and the slashing thing? Ubisoft are the friggin' whores. All right? They jump in to everything. And also, the Coon 1985 makes a great point. Ubisoft has been infamous for the downgrade. What they show at their shows is not what you get. Watch Dogs is an example of that. And where the hell is the new Watch Dogs? We haven't seen that. And where the hell is Skull and Bones? Zombie U. That's right, PlayStation 5. Exactly. Zombie U. Ubisoft is the first to jump in on new tech all the time. They jump right in on that one. That's what they do. And that was another thing. If Ubisoft, they're not showing Skull and Bones, like a game that we haven't seen in a while, like, they showed Assassin's Creed, a game that, has been good and it looks cool, but again, it's Assassin's Creed. Where's the skull and bones? Where's the new stuff? So they didn't even show something that was like brand new. But the whole show really wasn't of the third party that you would think going into it. Like, this is our third party showcase. If this was supposed to be your E3 portion, this was a third party. And my issue with the whole thing, and you could hear it from when I live streamed it, was like, this is the best. This is who you chose. You chose a developer that had one dude that looks like a great game, but like, is he designing a game specifically for your console? Or is he just putting the game out on Steam and you just happen to just grab it and it's going everywhere anyway? So like, and it's the sequel, like the version 1 or version 2. Like, so when I see that, I'm like, wow, that game looks great. But how much content is there really? Like, is that game a few levels, or there's made by one person? I'm sure the guy didn't it's not no 15-hour campaign with all that action. You know what I mean? I saw that Scorn gameplay, Cyber Dragon. Yo, I don't care what year that's from, but that Scorn, the carpet didn't match the drapes yet again. That Scorn gameplay did not amount to the eeriness that they set up in the detail in that. They showed that Scorn gameplay, and it's just like, again, it's made by the people that did Layers of Fear. Like, these, I don't even know if it's the Layers of Fear, but it's like these other guys. What's up, Samantha? How you doing? Yo, Hamana, how you doing, man? But it's these other guys. It's like these other, like, if you're gonna first off, you're gonna show the most powerful console. You got the 12 teraflops. You've been oozing machismo. You couldn't wait to talk about it. December, you've been talking out your ass about the power, the tech. Digital Foundry flew them out there, took them out to dinner. They played with your console. They put it together, magnets, and hooray, hooray. You got the tech there. So then you go to, let's go get Steam games. Like, I was looking up these games. So, like, and again, I don't want to knock the games because that's not where this is going. I was just disappointed with their third-party partners and showing kind of this level of games. Like, it just seems that Xbox is, whenever they're showing games, they're not shopping at high-end retail. They're shopping at second-hand retail. It's like me going to Canal Street in New York and saying I got a Louis Vuitton instead of going to Louis Vuitton. And that's kind of what that's kind of what I just feel like Phil Spencer's shopping around in Goodwill a little bit. And there's no problem with Goodwill, but you got to get firsthand shit too. Like, you can't just have your whole friggin', especially if you're talking about a premium product and the most premium experience, you can't be given Goodwill content. Okay? Like, we know the level of these games. You know what I mean? The level of this stuff. And this is the thing that grinds my gears all the time, is that they hype this stuff. It's like, exactly, and I don't want to knock Goodwill, but it's like me going to Goodwill, getting a secondhand shirt, and then walking around like I'm wearing a goddamn J. Crew top. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, look at this. Look at me styling. My Goodwill outfit. Like, and hyping that shit up. And it's like, dude, like, no, that's just a cotton shirt. No, really? Like, and I don't like them taking a game that's really failed Kickstarter in 2014, was written off, and then they try to Kickstarter again, and somebody gave them some money, and then now they're able to kind of finish their game. This is the game that you choose to lead your platform to show it. Yes, Samantha, you know what? That's where it's all going. Salvation Gaming, Cyber, that's a good term. Bargain bin gaming, things like that. But this is Smilegate. Like, again, like, these are, maybe they're big in Korea, but like, why is Phil Spencer taking no-namers and putting them on the map? Is this his salvation? Like, is this? Yes, I'm working from home. Gotta work from home. What's up, Daniel B? How you doing? Welcome to the Grinds After Dark. I gotta do the hashtag Grinds After Dark. But like, That was where the level, we're talking premium console. You want people to spend 500-600 on a console, you show a premium car, a Ferrari, and then you go, I'm going to put some cheap ass wheels on it. Can't wait. Like, you're not going to sell the Ferrari by talking about, hey, you know what, those wheels are, those are low grade wheels right there on that Ferrari. No, if you're selling a Ferrari, everything on it has to be premium. The best leather, the best wheels, the best this, the best that, because it's a whole package. You can't sell a premium Series X product with ho-hum content. And that's where I had the issue. I was like, you should be leading with third-party bangers. You should have went out and Capcom locked down like Dino Crisis or something like that. Like, do that kind of stuff. And there's your third-party, lead off for next generation. Like, Microsoft is getting third-party excited. The problem is that we didn't see that. Okay? And that's where my problem is. But everybody, the fallout has been the gameplay that they promised. Yeah, right? They showed a Ferrari hyping the new Forza right now, right? I know. Like, we come up with better ideas. Like, they cannot be that stupid and disconnected that, just us who are not even in the gaming industry come up with better marketing ideas and better things that we want. Like, they must hear it. They just don't want to. And they say they hear us, right? But they just don't want it. Just doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit what they want. And hit that like button, everybody, as you come in. Dislike if you don't like where this is going to go. But, it is what it is. This is just my opinion, and this is what I've been thinking about. Listening to a lot of the feedback on what the community's been saying. And not only just the tight-knit Twitter community, but, like, the big YouTubers, the websites. Like, it is really, like, devastating. Oh my god, like, what a farce. What a bait and switch. Like, what? No deal. Like, this is not good. To lead off your Series X, and your messaging has been so clear, and you had the advantage, right? Yes, Xbox is disconnected. They just seem to be, come join us. I got 50, and we've seen this over the last 3 years. This is not just this show. They've had an MO of this where basically Phil's like, we got 15 games showing you next week, and then he shows like an indie reel, and it's like, oh, okay, like, that's, yes, they're games, thank you, but what people are looking for, Phil. They're looking for that Xbox One lineup, that Killer Instinct, the Dead Rising 3, the Rise level type games, Sunset Overdrives, the Titanfall deal. Like, where are those? Where's that negotiation? Because you haven't done anything like that since Tomb Raider, right? So we come to this show, and I think the biggest slap and the death of this show was Ubisoft. And Microsoft and Ubisoft both hyping up, you're going to go see gameplay reveal. Now, I don't think that this is going to hurt Ubisoft's game, but actually I think Ubisoft gave a kick in the balls to Microsoft for this. That's what I think. I think Ubisoft just ruined Microsoft's parade. And the problem is Microsoft had nothing else to compensate for the lack of Assassin's Creed, and they showed a bunch of, I'll have to give some mod stats so you guys could to do this stuff. We'll be rolling around here. Don't worry, guys. I have to go into that again, but Coon's always in here. That's good. I tried to give it a salty, and we're gonna make Kamana for now. There we go. But yeah, like, the thing is, oh yeah. You know what? Span's always in there too. I'm gonna add some mods here. There we go. Don't worry, guys. Cyberdragon's right there. But yeah. So the thing is that where I was going with this is that basically, D says here, he goes, why would it would be more fucked up if Sony got Crytek to make Rise 2 for PlayStation 5 and it's not on Xbox? Rise 2 exclusive would be funny. You're right. Or like Alan Wake, Alan Wake 2. That would be horrible. Like, the fact that they let these games go. But the thing is that since Phil has explored the PC realm, right? And Game Passes has been in existence. You have to agree the level of games that they have been showing and the level of games that they have been recruiting have definitely been a tier down from what we used to get. And I think it goes to what Samantha said, is that this is the world of Game Pass. And I believe, this is when they announced Game Pass, and that wasn't an accessory to gaming. That was their path. And then when they committed all that first party, then we'll get into that. But I think that's why we're seeing the tier of subscription gaming and the kind of games that they could probably, even if they show the game and it's not in Game Pass day one and they release it on Xbox, it eventually will go into Game Pass. So some of those games that you've seen, like, oh yeah, a Game Pass launch, and then some of them won't be Game Pass launch, but they'll launch, and then they'll go into Game Pass probably a month later. So like they're basically building their Game Pass library. So hey, you know what? It'll release regularly for $29.99 in February, and then maybe come April or something like that, it'll go into Game Pass. So that's why. And you can't deny it. It's $10 a month, $15 a month. Nobody's putting a $100 million budgeted game in a $10 a month subscription without expecting that thing to gain money. Like, you know what I mean? No problem, man. And that's the thing. Like, it's really a Game Pass filler. Like, a lot of that stuff. Like, that's why they're building their library and their relationships with that kind of tier of games. And you hate to say it, but that's the Game Pass. That's what's happening with Game Pass. And the stigma of Game Pass, and I heard this too, is that it's just not the quality. Like Red Dead 2 in there, that's great. But again, Red Dead 2 did great, but like it didn't hit like GTA. And, they want that online built up. So like it wasn't as like this biggest game. Like it just, those games add value to Game Pass, but the people who wanted to play Red Dead, and I know Mooch says this too, I listened to his show, the people who wanted to play it played it. Like, it did what it had to do. But nobody's going to sign up for Red Dead Redemption. Like, the games, and especially games that have been on sale for like $15, $10, like now they go into Game Pass. And Red Dead's a great game, and it's a great game, and it's a great get for them, especially getting it first. But that's not the reason why people are subscribing. People are subscribing, majority is for your first party content, because people don't want old games in a subscription. Like, you know what I mean? People don't want old games. And then what they've been doing is putting a lot of new indie games in there. But I digress on this whole thing. And that's a whole conversation that we've been having forever since Game Pass's existence, that I always believe that Game Pass should be supplementary, not the lead vision of the company and what Xbox should be. I think it should be like PlayStation now. It's supplementary. It's like your games with gold, which that has been garbage, or your PlayStation Plus. Like it should be an accessory, another way of getting games that maybe you didn't buy. You know what I mean? But instead, it's their path forward because it's going to be tied into xCloud, and then they got the subscription. And I think, my speculation is another 4 or 5 years, Game Pass or xCloud will be on a Nintendo first and probably a PlayStation later, and then that will be the end of it. And Xbox will be happy, PlayStation and Nintendo will have their console business for whatever it is, and Microsoft will be the service that is on their platform. It'll be on phones, it'll be on the consoles, PlayStation, it'll be, hey, what's up to Floyd? They'll be on, here's another one I give out. The, they'll be on phones, on tablets, they'll be on TVs, and then Microsoft and Satya will be glorious. They'll be happy, And that's where I think the future of Xbox is. That's why this console stuff is just a pacifying moment to deal until cloud is ready for them to just go, sayonara console, That's basically the future of it. But again, this is not what we're talking about. I'm just trying to build up to say, like, what has happened in the 24 hours from that show. And I was just disappointed with the level of games that they showed for their third-party blowout. Now, from that show, we did hear that they are having a July event, that event is going to be for their first party, right? Their first party is going to be in the shown in July. Aaron Greenberg said that their June event is going to be something different, and it's not going to be like Xbox 2020. It's to be something different. And there's speculation that it's going to be the Lockhart reveal, and probably maybe it's going to be a services and hardware announcement. Probably talking about xCloud and talking about Lockhart. And that makes sense because xCloud is for the kind of low end like PCs and we got to remember the conversation is to trying to get like Gears 5 running on a friggin' Chromebook or Gears 5 running on a Surface. And that's kind of, you got to remember, that's where the xCloud thing, because xCloud is going to be going to PC next. And I could see that being part of the message of xCloud and Lockhart being the low end tier and kind of like, it's the budget show. You know what I mean? The people that don't want to spend the money, this is the budget show. If that's what their June event is, I think it's wrong to talk about Lockhart right now, and I'll tell you why. Then he said that their first party is going to be shown in July. So now we got the black hole of June, right? One more thing in the 24-hour fallout is that Aaron Greenberg went on to Twitter, and I'm going to read exactly what he said here. Because of, and the thing is that, and because of the level of kind of like everybody was just like, there was no gameplay. You promised gameplay. This is not the way to start a new generation of consoles. I heard it all. Like it's all of them, and his webcam was a friggin' potato there. So he says here. Oh, did he? Where is it? Oh, maybe he was just replying. Oh, yeah, he was replying to Wiggle Man. That's where it was. Yeah. So hear this. And you can tell me what you think about this, Chad, definitely. Like, so he writes here. Let me put it on the display here. So he wrote, so somebody online, first look at next-gen gameplay trailers and sneak peeks from a wide variety of publishing partners and independent developers across the globe. So they said indies, and then the headliner was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And hear how from the creators are doing what they're doing. But it wasn't just this press release. It was the hype building up to it that you're going to see gameplay from next-generation consoles. So then what he wrote was, had we not said anything and just shown May Inside Xbox show like we did last month, which last month's Inside Xbox was absolute garbage, I suspect reactions might have been different. Clearly, we set some wrong expectations, and that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you that we'll take it all in and learn as a team. So he had to come out and apologize for the expectations. And I think the biggest expectation was the Assassin's Creed gameplay. And also that there was no other like big game in there to compensate for the lack of Assassin's Creed. And that's on them. They put this lineup together. And this is what happens when you have some no-name developers. Not to say that they're bad, not to say the games are bad. Some look good. But you have a bunch of ho-hum Steam 2-year-old games that are coming out of a preview and one developer guy and all this other stuff, which was probably the best looking game was the one from the one person. And you have some gameplay here or there, and people are like, oh, yeah, it's neat. It's all appetizer. It's like, oh, that's neat. And it's like, on the bottom, they're like, stay tuned for Valhalla gameplay. They tease it throughout the whole show because that's what they do in these Inside Xboxes. Like, Phil Spencer's going to be here. Oh, he's here to talk about keyboard and mouse support. Or X-Zone 18. Or Halo's going to be at the Inside Xbox, and they tease the Halo news. And it turns out to be Halo Dave & Buster's. So it's like, oh, shit, that's not the Halo that I thought we were going to have an announcement on. They do this all the time. They tease you. They want you to sit there and watch all their bullshit. And there wasn't too much cringe in here, thank goodness, because they were at home. But anyway, the whole thing was you didn't really have anything to compensate for the screw job that Assassin's Creed was. And Assassin's Creed was like, that was bull. And they don't care. They'll be, hey, Ubisoft's having a show. They'll just move on and show gameplay and everybody will love it. But what they've done to Xbox is they basically had to make the friggin' Aaron Greenberg come out and apologize, saying that that's on us. We hyped up stuff that, you know, we talked too much. And if you go back and listen to what I said the night before the last grinds at night that I did 2 nights ago. I said they talk too much. They don't let it just show, the game show. And if you look at what he's saying here, had we not said anything and just shown it, like stealth kind of dropped inside Xbox, but the thing is that kind of is counterintuitive because they want more engagement. Because remember, they're putting this on Mixer, they're putting this on YouTube, and you know how they love their engagement, right? They got to get that engagement, so they got to advertise this stuff. But they're going to be, and for company that keeps going that they're so transparent, this is a kick in the nuts because they were so transparent, they talked too much, and the content didn't deliver on the talking. And what is gameplay? That's right. Did Assassin's Creed? That Assassin's Creed thing was a bullshit gameplay. Like, it was like it was a cutscenes, and then there was somebody just panning over. And the problem is that it wasn't like it looked bad. And it's not that you can't judge a game based off of what they've shown. Like, oh, that looks like something I want to play. We do this a lot with trailers and things like that. But when you hype up, this is going to be a gameplay demonstration. This is going to be gameplay for next generation. People are expecting, what am I going to play? And they hyped up this thing. Like, they basically said, hey, you want to see some gameplay for this? And what they shown was gameplay of current gen games with this tramp stamp on it. And if they think this stamp is going to hold any kind of weight, and this is going to make people think that they got the power, it brings me back to the quote of Tommy Boy, if you remember that, but why do they put guarantee on the box? They put guarantee on the box because they know they're selling you a guaranteed piece of shit. I have time, I could go take that box, take a shit in it, slap guaranteed on it, and sell it to you. If that'll make you feel good. He's like, that guarantee, that sticker on the box makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. I can see that sticker that slap that guarantee on there. It's like, yeah, they're selling you a guaranteed piece of shit. When I see this tramp stamp here, I'm like, if they think they're just going to phone in next generation by slapping that optimized for Series X on every fucking game that works on that console, they got another thing coming. And I really am eager to see if Sony is going to have something similar where this works on PlayStation 5. And I expect that they are going to have cross-generation, cross-buy games. But I do think that Sony's going to have PlayStation 5 only boxes, PlayStation 5 only games. And I think that I think there's going to be this, but the thing is that Microsoft is using this right now, they are using this as a crutch. They're showing current gen games running on a Series X, and they didn't demonstrate the power or what all that power is giving you at this show at all. It would have been better if they showed 1 or 2 games and showed somebody loading it up on an X and loading it up on a Series X and look at the difference in load times. Or talk about something different. I don't even know. It's so hard to convey the minute changes in the generation, that especially between third-party games that run on other hardware devices. And this is a problem that they're going to have moving forward, is that with all these options of consoles out there, how are they going to demonstrate the differences? Because I think we all could agree they did not do a good job with the X and the S to show the differences at all. Hell, they didn't even have Xbox One X demos out there to really demonstrate the power of the system. It was all like 4K, true 4K, uncompromised. The only demo I saw was at the Microsoft store. So it's really going to be interesting what Sony does with this. And like I said yesterday, if Sony is like, yo, you're going to buy it twice, PlayStation 4 games, PlayStation 5 games, you're going to pay for both of them, I'm thinking they're probably going to have some upgrade period where if you buy the PlayStation 4 game, we'll get you a digital download or something like that to give you the PlayStation 5 version if you buy it within the window of launch. I think there's going to be some sort of negotiation, but I do think that Sony's going to probably have PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 boxes. And, just like any other generation. Microsoft is going to have just an Xbox box and probably have that stamp on it and says, hey, this takes advantage of your Series X. And I don't know. I just don't think that's a great way to do it, because it kind of looks like it's a patch job. It's a patch. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it look like it's a next gen product, and you're selling a next gen machine. Anyway, the thing is with all this and the summary and the apology and stuff, this is my thought. Now that I got you guys in the end, hit the like button, guys, because we're gonna go deep. And you're going to get deep into the memories here. The reason why I said, could Xbox 2020, this conference that just happened, this thing that just happened, it was pretty devastating to Microsoft's messaging. Totally. They led in December talking about the console. They showed it, showed Hellblade 2, impressive, surprised everybody. Then they talked about the power. Sony came out to try to talk about the power. Microsoft had them beating the specs and, for whatever with the teraflops. And they had Digital Foundry covering it. Like, they had their hardware announcements on tape. But where does Microsoft where have they been dropping the ball? It's been in the software. They got destroyed. Last E3, they lost E3 with Sony not even going. They stumbled over themselves. They had the stage to themselves, and they chose to show garbage. A bunch of indie games, third-party games. Then they talked about a new console. They showed a trailer to Halo, and they thought that was it, and they left. They should have used that time to really talk about. They showed Bleeding Edge. Like, they really did not have a good E3, and when the stage was all to them. They had the whole E3 to them, and they did not demonstrate. And I thought that they should have used that time to really start talking about their games then, so they wouldn't have all this pressure they're going to have now in July, where we have no friggin' clue what the hell some of these games are going to look like, what they're going to be, and what the scope of them is going to be. And that infamous Booty quote, we bought these studios for scoping, and they're not going to be the 30 to 40-hour games. They're going to be tailored games like Hellblade 1. So they're going to be small games. And then, why? Because we have Game Pass. That's what he said. He said that stuff. So I don't know where in the world you think Double Fine is going to make Uncharted. Double Fine is not making Uncharted. First off, they're working on Psychonauts 2, which is coming on everything. Right? I don't know what else Double Fine's going to make. What are they going to make? They're going to make a sequel to God of War. They're going to make Halo Infinite. Halo spin-off. That would be smart, if they did some sort of like other thing. And it was a high-end game. But what is so they're going to show us Double Fine in July. What do you think Double Fine's making? Like, realistically. We know what Rare's doing. Everwild. People talking about it. They showed it at XO19. Yeah, okay, it looks good. It looks like a Zelda Viva Pinata type. Okay. Microsoft has done so much damage that it's going to take they got such a hill to climb right now. And given yesterday's show, they have now put all their eggs in one basket and one show. Remember how last year's E3 was make or break, but now they're like, oh no, they're saving it for next year when they launch the console. Well, whatever they saved for, it's all going to come to fruition in July. And I can almost guarantee you in July, we're not going to see what we want to see. Now here comes the point with July. We said we got the May show yesterday. We recapped the fallout and what has been going on. Similar to 2013's May reveal, where they led with TV, Call of Duty, TV. People were upset. People were disappointed. People were like, what was that? Similar stuff that people are saying today. What was that? That's not how you launch a console. We were hyped for the Xbox. You have left a door open for Sony. And all the lead up to this show has led up to this, And this show that they just did has basically brought them back down to earth and left a huge gap right now for Sony to come in. And there's rumors now. Yes, Cyber Dragon, we're happy about the games we didn't show you. That's what that son of a bitch said last year. He showed that trash-ass show at E3, and he says, I'm happy about the games I didn't show you. What was he happy about? Everwild? Scorn? He was happy about, what was he happy about? I can't even mention half the other games because nobody knows them. It's so funny. Everybody's like, oh, that samurai game. Oh, that sword game. Oh, that top-down game. Nobody knows them because none of them were impactful enough for even anybody to remember. They just know of it. That's not good. You want people quoting that game when you watch that. The gameplay, the game should speak for themselves. And Microsoft has been suffering with this message. They could talk a good hardware game. That's what they do. Oh, that X, man, they talked that X out. They sold that X. They wore the jerseys. They did a great job with the X. But guess what? When it came down to software, you got fucking Lucky's Tales. And they really didn't demonstrate anything with the X. But they talked a great game. We're doing it again. But now, the fallout of that reveal. This is the show. May. Xbox and May reveals don't go hand in hand. We're talking about 7 years later. We're sitting here. And now they had another May event. And people are like, that sucked. You failed. What the hell was that? That's not how you launch a console. And now we got to wait till July. Now, in May, in 2013, they did the same thing. They talked about TV. They led with the wrong message. They led with TV. They led with Call of Duty. And they said the games will be shown at E3. They pissed people off so much with that reveal and the messaging that the games that they showed, which were great, they had a great E3, it was overcome because Sony took advantage of the opening. And now we sit here 7 years later. Now, again, this is not, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but come with me on this adventure. What I'm going to say, June now is going to be possibly Lockhart and Services. They specifically said Halo is not going to be shown until July. Okay. So that means if there's a rumor out there that Sony might do a June event of the PlayStation 5. If I was Sony, I would. Especially now. Because right now, Microsoft has tripped over themselves with bad messaging. They had such good messaging up until this point, and they told us we're going to see gameplay. They said they were going to show the Series X, and they did not. Even if they showed the gameplay, which they did. Again, I didn't have too much of a problem with that, the lack of the gameplay. My problem is that it really didn't show why it was a Series X show. Just because they showed me that logo, they did not demonstrate why this was a Series X show. Why this could have been this could have been just a YouTube video with no Microsoft branding at all. Like, why was this for Series X? What are these games doing that can't be done currently, or why does it earn that thing? Because it upgrades to smart delivery. Well, what elements of smart delivery is this using? Is it resolution? Is it shadows? What is it? Frame rates? What's going on? Does that mean the game runs? Like, you got to explain this stuff. And Samantha says, Xbox will have pretty games this year, but it's like you said, it will be small scope, basically AA. That's what they've been focusing on. But now we have June, right? We're in June. And Sony, if they do their PlayStation 5 reveal, they show the console, and they show their first-party games, and then they bring on their third-party partners like, hey, here's Bungie, here's Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty, and here are the maps for, like, if Sony has the bigger third-party partners, and they don't even need them. If Sony goes on stage and goes, here's Horizon Zero, here's the PlayStation 5, this is what it looks like, we already talked about the tech, here's the controller, here's the interface, here's Horizon Zero Dawn 2 running on a PlayStation. Somebody is running around in these graphics. And you could guarantee you, Sony will have somebody demonstrating playing this game. You will have a narrated over gameplay, I am assuming, if they're listening. Then, there's AA's for their controllers. That's right. They're powering their controllers with the AA games. Sony then shows like Spider-Man, what Santa Monica Studios is working on with the space game. Maybe not God of War 2, maybe the space game. But if Sony comes out and shows gameplay of their next generation games that are only on PlayStation, and then they'll probably show some cross games, like maybe they have Skull and Bones from Ubisoft and they show some, hey, this will work across both platforms and this. But I'm saying Sony has been so quiet, and got Horizon Zero Dawn 2. If they come in June and do their PlayStation reveal, they show the console, they show some exclusive games from their first party that look graphically impressive, and they have amazing production value, which they're known for. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just ride this with me here. And Microsoft now is in June. They're not showing their first party games, which is the only kind of last ditch effort they have of trying to save the brand, is this friggin' first party lineup that they've been promising for 2 years. And everything they've been showing has been B projects, passion projects. This is the B team. They were already working on these games. This is, they're building up for next gen. This is it. That's not happening until July. So June, if Sony does their reveal and shows next generation games and maybe even third-party multiplats running on the PlayStation 5 using features of the PlayStation 5 and does the God's work that Microsoft missed to do yesterday, Sony gains they had momentum with the goddamn logo and controller, but Sony just does a death blow to everything that Microsoft has done already. And it will be equivalent to how E3 2013, when Sony just came out and was like, we're not doing that AA bullshit. Here are these epic AAA games made for the PlayStation 5, built for the SSD. Look at this, bitch. Go. Run it. Holy shit, look at those graphics. Oh my god. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a perfect game to launch with that. And then on top of that, you go, oh yeah, and you guys on PC, yeah, here's Horizon 1. Here's a little taste. If you want to do it, come over to the PlayStation 5 this holiday. Boom. Summer of boom. Now, hear this. The other factor is Microsoft has shown all their games for this year. They got Minecraft Dungeons as a multiplat, and that's not doing anything. They already released their Bleeding Edge. The only game they got big this year is Halo Infinite, right? Glorious Kev, what's up? This is the ride we're going on here. June is the death blow. Because if Sony comes in June and talks PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 exclusive first-party games and maybe brings on some third-party partners and has a little video package of this whole thing, and then Microsoft is sitting there going, well, we're not showing Halo until July. We're sitting here. They just left the window open right now for Sony to come in June, show the PlayStation 5, and take what next generation is supposed to look like and put it in their court. When Microsoft had the ability yesterday, nobody was around. Sony didn't say anything. Microsoft could have used yesterday as a foot in the sand, a foot in the ground to show this is what next gen looks like on the most powerful console. And they didn't do it. And that's why the internet is pissed. Xbox fans are pissed. PlayStation fans are just roasting it. But all the big outlets are like, failed. That's not how you lead a next generation. And it's everybody. And it's equivalent. Nobody's capping for yesterday. The few are, but nobody's going like, well, it was a great show. Like, this was an excellent demonstration of next gen. No, it wasn't. Not to say the games were bad, but those games and what they decided to put together, and even Assassin's Creed stuff, they failed to show what a next generation game will look like and why it should be on the Series X. That's the major fail. And now they left that opportunity open for Sony to come in June, show the PlayStation 5, and demonstrate next generation. And the mind share will go whoop right to PlayStation. They will gain mind share from people that had no interest in PlayStation going whoop Damn, I want to play that. Damn, that looks good to me. Wow, that's what next generation looks like. And they'll sit there. On top of that, you can't write this shit up. If Microsoft is then going to use June to talk about the weaker Lockhart system and cloud services, God damn it, that is the wrong month to do it. You do not talk about your weaker console when Sony is going to show their competitor to your strongest console. And that's why I think the Lockhart reveal in the middle of this whole thing was wrong. And especially, I think Lockhart being shown anytime after that disaster of yesterday is the wrong message. You showed ho-hum indie games, and now you're going to show an indie box, and you're going to show a weaker box. And know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you, and I said this before, if they decide to do Lockhart, and then PlayStation's talking about the PlayStation 5 in the same month, people are going to automatically think that is Microsoft's next-gen console, the fucking Lockhart, and not the Series X. The people, consumers, are dumb. The media will run wild with it. Seeing that will be like, oh, Microsoft showed its Series S and PlayStation 5 has been revealed. And they will pit the both of them together. And people will be like, well, wait, the Series X is more powerful. And people will be like, wait a second, there's two Xboxes? What? They just talked about their Xbox. PlayStation did theirs and Microsoft did theirs. Do you see where I'm going with this? Chat, do you guys see this? Like, do you think people are dumb, Kev, right? But think about it. In June, if June's event is, you can't write this shit up worse than this scenario that Microsoft has put themselves in. And they could have really used yesterday to demonstrate that power and show and take the mind share back. Even if they signed a deal like, yo, Capcom's making Dino Crisis exclusively on the Series X, and look at it. It's taking power. It's using all 12 teraflops. Look at those friggin' dinosaurs. Something like that. Instead, they couldn't even grasp attention for Assassin's Creed, who just showed no gameplay at all, and that's what people wanted to tune in for. Were they Assassin's Creed fans or Xbox fans? I don't know, but whatever they were, both of them were pissed. Good job. And it was the messaging in 2013 that killed them. It wasn't the content. It was the messaging, right? And they then told people at that show, oh, sorry, guys, you don't like that? Well, wait until June when we show the games at E3. Now they're telling people, guys, wait until July. We're going to show our first-party lineup. You'll see Halo in July. Microsoft has left the window open in June. If Sony does nothing in June, they really don't need to do something in June. But if they do something in June with the PlayStation 5 and do their reveal, like their kind of reveal, it will be a death blow. Because if Microsoft is going to talk about its weaker console and Sony's going to talk about the PlayStation 5, they're going to be associated against each other. And it's not going to be the PlayStation 5 and Series X. It is going to be, the media is going to talk about Xbox and PlayStation announce their new next-gen consoles. And they're going to say, June announced the new, when E3 was, and because media is dumb, right? Media is stupid. They're going to do that. They're going to be, oh, well, Microsoft announced their next-gen console. Oh, they also talked about the Series X in December, but there's a new one now. And then they're going to talk about and then PlayStation 5. This one is running at 4 teraflops. This one's a weaker console, more for the budget end. And Sony's the PlayStation 5. This is next-generation games. And here's some of the games that Sony showed running on the PlayStation 5. What are they going to show? They're going to show friggin' whatever they showed yesterday for running on the Series S. They specifically said they're not talking Halo until July. So that's one aspect of it. Sony could come in and demonstrate next generation. The other aspect of it, Microsoft had all this time to stage to themselves, not just this month. It was over a year or so. Since E3, they had the stage to themselves. And now what they have done is wait till July for us to show the games from our first party. The same potential month or month away from when Sony's going to show their first party games. On top of that, Sony has now, due to this delay, we're going to be in the world of Sony of Last of Us 2 coming out the end of June. So June, if Sony decides to announce the PlayStation 5 and the games from next generation, then deliver Last of Us 2 to the fans now. Then the next month, Ghost of Tsushima. Both of those super impressively looking games. Played, what's up, JCat? How you doing? Played right now. And then on top of that, they're going to show the PlayStation 5 and next-gen games while we're consuming The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. And with all that bubble of Sony and momentum in June and July, Microsoft now having over a year and a half of the stage to themselves of saying anything they wanted to say, now has to put on a show in July to show what Double Fine is making. To show their games. The problem with this is goes right back to what Samantha said early on. Microsoft's first party is all going into Game Pass. The opportunities for big blockbuster games was with the third party. Third party was the partnerships that will show the big, because they're not going into Game Pass day one. All of Microsoft's first party is going into Game Pass day one. So all those games are going to be compromised for a service, right? Those are the kind of games that Microsoft now has to show. Do you think when you're playing Last of Us 2, when the world is playing Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and then they see demos for Horizon Zero Dawn? Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but think about this. Sony has June to talk about the PlayStation 5 with this ain't June 4th. Can Microsoft now has to squeeze? They waited so long, they procrastinated so long. They have put themselves in their back against the wall, relying on on their first party Game Pass lineup and Halo to save them, to even have they're going to be like an echo. They're going to have to now overcome the Last of Us 2 messaging, Ghost of Tsushima in July messaging, the PlayStation 5 and the next generation of games messaging, and they're going to have to demonstrate all their first-party games, which are all backwards compatible. They are not next-gen exclusives. They have said, Booty already committed this. No next-gen exclusives for the next 2 years. And there you go. And then there's your 2013 banger. There's your drop the mic moment. And now the messaging has destroyed the momentum that Xbox had. They had such momentum with the 360. Their messaging destroyed them because they did not launch on a good note. And that stuff haunted them for 7 years. Now we're on the cusp of the next generation. They led talking great with hardware, but when it came down to the software demonstration, they fumbled. They talked the Xbox One. They came down, when it came down to software, they had the content, but they led on TV, and the people like, that's not how you launch a console. It's not an entertainment device. You know, it's not this. What's up, Callie? And now they're at and I'm wondering if we're going to look back at this, and this was their big gameplay reveal. And people are like, oh no, they'll catch up. Like they could come back from this, and they can if Sony decides not to do anything. If Sony decides not to do anything, just sit on their laurels for June and just let these games come out June, July, then we're fine. But if Sony really is going to come out and talk about PlayStation 5 in June, and Microsoft's going to talk about Lockhart in June and not talk about their first party games, which everybody wants, until July, July's too late. All right. Because now they're in the window of 2 huge Sony exclusives going to probably move PlayStation consoles now. So Sony has the momentum right now with sales and big games. And if they start talking about next gen on top of that, that's icing on the cake. And if they have the ability to demonstrate what next generation is going to look like, when Microsoft had that opportunity yesterday. unless they do some stealth release or they talk about Halo and they lie to everybody,
I lied.
and they just basically go, hey, here's Halo in June. But they specifically said during that thing that Halo is not going to be shown until July. They're going to talk about, they're going to 343, Double Fine, and probably going to talk about, probably the big thing that they got is Fable. And you know what? Is anybody going to is anybody going to be, oh my God, Microsoft announced Fable when Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is being demonstrated and you're playing Last of Us 2 and they're playing Ghost of Tsushima? And we kind of knew rumors of Fable for 3 years and Microsoft just didn't tell anybody about it. And then on top of all that thing, the last little dig could be that if Sony does their PlayStation 5 reveal and they make pre-orders open, DeFoy says that there is no Fable. But it's really think about this scenario. If Sony really demonstrates the PlayStation 5, I don't think they're going to open up pre-orders in June. I really think that unless, oh shit. Now that I'm thinking, if that June event really is the Lockhart, and then that's where they announce the price of the two consoles and they open up pre-orders. And Sony does the same thing. Because you're going to introduce Lockhart and then say, all right, Series X is 500, Lockhart's 4, or Lockhart's 3, or Series X is 6, and Lockhart is 4. But the thing is that they procrastinated and told people to wait for so long. And now it's it's midnight before the final exam and they got a crunch. Hashtag no crunch. And they put all this pressure on them now. Now all this pressure is on them now to demonstrate their first party, which has been the weakest. And the biggest question mark on Microsoft has been is that. Exactly. I think they're gonna talk to. I think Initiative might tease something. But they said in that thing he just lists Double Fine, 343, and Ninja Theory. No, Oblivion. I'm sorry, Obsidian. He said Obsidian. But if you think about what they got Ninja Theory got Hellblade 2. We know about that. And they'll probably show that Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2. Raz making Everwild. 343 is doing Halo. Double Fine's doing Psychonauts 2 and maybe something else. Obsidian is making an RPG. They're saying a Fable RPG. Okay. A Fallout RPG. Okay, yeah, they're making Fallout. Matt Booty said that the studios they bought are not making 40-hour games. So maybe it's a small version, a light version. Maybe just like Outer Worlds. Maybe Outer Worlds 2, who knows. And then maybe Fable. And what? Initiative might tease a Perfect Dark. Even if they announce that stuff, Fable, Perfect Dark, Double Fine's game, Obsidian's game, all going into game. I don't know. I just don't I just can't see how that in a vacuum that will be great. And I think Microsoft had opportunities to kind of start really talking about these games and getting deep dives and talking about these games. And they should have done it when they had all this time without any competition really talking about it. But now they're going to announce these games with all the noise of Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and possibly PlayStation 5. And now a Fable game being announced in there is I don't know. I just think they had so many missed opportunities. They had XO19. And they didn't even use that. That was a sizzle reel. They could have went into Everwild and really. They don't break down their games. They don't give any credit to their first party. Their marketing for their first party has been utter bullshit. It's been garbage. They don't break down their games and make people appreciate their games. Instead, they stealth drop them. They talk about them. They make Aaron Greenberg run around in a fucking Ori suit. And they go, yeah, go, slap it in Game Pass tomorrow at midnight. Xbox Game Pass Twitter, go tweet it out. They don't give respect to their games. They don't break them down. Sony breaks down their games. Here's the story. Here's the gameplay. Here's what you'll be doing. Here's an insider's look with the behind the scenes. Here's Game Informer covering Death. They had Days Gone covered for like 6 months before it released. You saw plenty of that game to know whether you're going to get it or not. Microsoft shot some motherfucker out of a cannon for Sea of Thieves in a stadium and said Sea of Thieves comes at midnight. They did a bunch of people in a fucking escape room to advertise for goddamn State of Decay 2. After a boring ass Inside Xbox. They had Gears 5 and didn't show the campaign until fucking Ninja streamed it the day before it released. And led with escape mode. I want to ask anybody out there who listens to my videos, who the fuck is playing Escape on Gears 5? I play Gears 5. I have a whole crew of people that play Gears 5 with Erica and Merc and Audible. We never said once in the chat, let's play Escape. Who's playing it? That's what they led for, remember? The stage opened up, they went down there, and there was fucking the wrestlers underneath the ring going, we're playing the game. All right, thank you. Back to you, Phil. What? Their marketing and appreciation for their games has been utter bullshit. They'll sell you 12 teraflops, but the games that their first party, there's no confidence and appreciation from them in their own first party. It's like they know they're delivering you shit in a box. And you want to know what? Some of it's not shit. It has potential. It just needs the love and it needs the demonstration. It needs the vision. And that's what they don't have. And that's why I think Microsoft is incapable of making great games. Under the regime that they got right now, I don't think they have the vision. They have the passion, but they don't have the head of the company does not know what a good game is. He likes to play Voodoo Vince. And on top of that, the games that he loves have been the worst games that have been released on the console. If you don't have, if that's your passion, how the fuck, if Crackdown was your favorite game, how the fuck do you release Crackdown 3? In the state that it is, and lack the support. And again, they release these games, and then they add a bunch. They had Joe Staten, the guy who wrote Halo, standing next to a whiteboard describing how they're trying to implement party chat and party matchmaking and how it's going to take some time, and apologizing for the way they launched Crackdown 3 after they had a fucking beta 2 weeks before. That's Phil's passion project. He delayed the game because it wasn't up to par. Meanwhile, the year before, he said him and Shannon Loftus had a blast. The guy don't know what games are. He don't know good games. I don't understand. Shane Kim. He took Shane Kim's job. Before that, it was Ed Freeze. And then he ran studios, and Shannon Loftus was dancing with Connect. They're a bunch of bozos. They don't know good games. Phil could talk a good talk, but he doesn't know what a good game is. And now they're going to release these games in July amongst the noise of Sony first-party games. When they had the stage to themselves for over a year to really start the messaging, they should have shown more Halo in E3 last year. They should have shown a Halo blowout at XO19. Halo was not even there. They should have showed Halo in January. They should have been building us up for Halo Infinite. And we're sitting here. People talk about, like, oh, Sony hasn't shown us anything. Ha! Just the logo and the controller. And they're released in November. Halo Infinite was been announced for over a year. And we don't even know what the fuck it looks like. I would be more worried about Halo. Halo used to, when it was a Halo year, they started talking about Halo in January all the way to the release in September and November. They had TV shows. They had law. They had podcasts. They had everything. We're here now in May. After all these monthly events from Microsoft, we ain't even seen a goddamn a battle rifle. And it's not like they had opportunity. They made a huge show. They got so much content to show. They got so much to show. And they led off with that bullshit yesterday. They got so much. That's your foot forward. What did you do in 2013, everybody? What did they do? They stumbled out of the gate. TV. It was the wrong foot. They jumped in with two left feet. Now they go, yesterday was make or break. Yesterday was the message. Yesterday was, we've been talking about power. Phil said it. Phil fucking Spencer said it. And this is where they hurt themselves. Phil said it, right? I got it right here. Where is it? Yeah, this is messaging right here. Messaging 101. People just forget it. This is how they advertised inside Xbox. Look. Guys. And Samantha, I'll get back to your question. I saw it. I didn't want to forget what I was going to say. This is how they said, you want to see games for Xbox Series X? We want to show you games for the Xbox Series X. Check out our first look next-gen gameplay from our global developer partners. They showed you game trailers. And the trolls and everybody's on there. And the PC stuff. But like, they started, let's show gameplay. And then here's Aaron, so pumped to see our partners showing us first look at Series X. That's the problem. None of that show yesterday demonstrated why this was a Series X and not just a regular Xbox. Like, why was it Series X? Because you came up with a cool logo and said it is? First look at Series X gameplay next week. Gameplay next week. Gameplay. They kept emphasizing gameplay. And they showed trailers, and the headliner was the failure. Also, Xbox Game Studios are working hard on the summer plans. And there they are. Phil retweeted it. But where's his thing here? I'm going to find it. After his little Gears Tactics thing. He's hyping up that Game Pass. Where is it? Yeah, Grounded. There's the next game. He said right here. He said games. Like, we've talked all the hardware. Now it's about games. Where is it? And that's the games that they led with. Where did he say it? He's like, we talked. Yeah. He's like, you want to see games. He said it somewhere in here. I remember. Yeah, it was. He's like, we got the hardware out of the way. Now this is the guy who ruined it all. This guy, this clown. He ruined the whole fucking thing. He ruined all of Xbox. That guy. Phil's just following his command. This is the next thing that's gonna go. Mixer. That's the next thing. That's the next thing that just failed. Ybarra was running that thing. He's gone, and they haven't got a replacement for him. See? Probably remember what we're delivering for the next. Like, they talked so much about the power. Oh, my God, the power. And then you lead with that. And that's the messaging that they just didn't do. He said it. You know, he said it where, like, we're going to talk about games. But this is the hype that they just marketed, and they're doing their job. But the thing is that it backfired. And this clown, he's the one that basically they're gonna look at him now. They go, this guy is the one who basically screwed them. And this is what Phil said. Here it is. This is it right here. Excited for the Kickstarter of Xbox 2020 tomorrow with Inside Xbox. Especially love all the games that have never been seen in an Xbox show before. So people are like, holy shit, they got some partnerships. Maybe they pulled somebody from Sony. Oh my god. New games for a new generation. New games for a new generation, right? And this is what I'm saying about the messaging and how this is. Where is this? Yeah, new games for a new generation. Scorn. Developers claim design of the game being thrown into a world. Very little context is given about the game's settings. Developers have explained that they want an unsettling environment. The game was first announced on November 12th, 2014, with the trailer showing pre-alpha footage, followed by an unsuccessful campaign on Kickstarter in 2014. Despite this, the game remained in development in a two-part release. In 2015, Scorn received private funding from an investor and began full production in 2015. The game was planned to release in two parts. Destined, and I don't know the German terms of it. Then they decided to just make it one whole game instead of parts. In 2017, Ebb Software launched a Kickstarter, reaching its goal of 150, whatever that is, euros? Oh, not euro. Yeah, euros. In September of that year. 3 years later, May 7th, so 2017 is when they got their Kickstarter, and now May 7th, 2020 announced the game will be published for the Xbox Series X, running at 4K 60, and will not be released on previous generation consoles because the developer didn't want time on the version of not good experience on old consoles. So who are all my people for scalability out there? Hello? Hello? Scalability? Scalability?
I lied.
Scalability?
I lied.
Scalability?
I lied.
Put that cookie down now!
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Yeah. Anyway, new games for new generation. Okay. Yeah, Phil, good job. Now, what's the other game? What was the other one? Give me all. What was another one that was announced yesterday? Oh shit, what was the other one that I looked at? Scorn, and then there was the was it the Bright game? What the hell is it? Bright Memory, right? Let's look at this one. New games for new generation. Okay, new generation. Is this the one? Game was released episode here. Bright Memory was developed by the one guy. Look good. This was the most impressive game. Previewed the game trailer in 2017 with financial support from Epic Games. An early access version of episode 1 was released worldwide on January 12th, 2019. The game supports the Oculus Rift virtual reality goggles. The guy got stolen assets controversy in 2019 saying somebody took his stuff from him. Well, he's putting it on Xbox now and on PlayStation too, I think. But let's look. Bright Memory, where are you? Oh, it's coming to PlayStation 4? Okay, wait, where is it? So there you go. There's another one. There's another one. Hold on, I'm going to find the other one too. New game. These are the games that they shown. I looked them up. Like, what they shown. So let's see. Xbox Wire. And again, I'm not saying they're bad games, but I'm just saying, like, read what he's saying. New games for a new generation. Games never seen before. And then look what they're delivering. Like, what world does he live in? Where's another one? Let's see. I hit pause and I find out. It was, oh. Was this one? Yeah. Bloodlines 2, the vampire game, right? Let's find out about this gem. Might be sarcastic there, but we'll call it a gem. But let's look at Bloodlines 2, guys, right? The Masquerade. Is this the one? Here we go. Bloodlines 2, the vampire game. The original game released in 2004, The Masquerade Bloodlines, and it was a relative failure, selling fewer than 100,000 copies, and launched in competition against sequels to Half-Life, Halo 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3. Bloodlines was the last developed by Troya Games. Okay, so great. Now, in 2004, that guy, boom, 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 years following, cult classic, okay. Video game publisher Paradox purchased White Wolf in 2015 and got the rights to Bloodlines. Here's our production. And now, here it is. Guys, Bloodlines 2, what we saw yesterday, was first teased in February 2019 with the release date dating app Tinder, created by Paradox. So the people who are making this game, it was teased in the Tinder app for dating. The app uses a soulmate algorithm, asks the user's blood type. How cute. In a Twitch live stream, they displayed the memo of the game and they were prepared. 2020, let's see, the date was publicly revealed on March 21st, 2019 in San Francisco. The date was publicly revealed. The game is planned for release in 2020 on all these systems, but it was teased back in February 2019. And they already kind of announced it on March 21st. So, I don't recall anybody news talking to me about Bloodlines 2 when it got teased last year. Anybody in the Tinder app? Tinder. I don't know. Is it Tinder? Tender? I don't know if they spelled it wrong. But it was announced last year, this game. I guess it's announced now for the consoles? So, and this is crazy. You want to see this? This game was initially scheduled to release in March 2020. The game was pushed back in late 2019 to an unspecified 2020 release date. And that's the game that Phil Spencer wanted to lead off his next-gen console, a delayed game that was announced last year. I guess because it's on Xbox. Okay. I don't know, man. Not to say these games are bad, but like troubled development, games in development, games announced last year. Dude, these are not E3 worthy. These are not the games that I think you should be launching your. I don't know if he's really trying to make a point for diversity and making it a real point that, hey, we got all these crazy games, these games from all like Steam games and all this other stuff. Like, I just don't know why these games are fine to highlight, but like, yo, get out of Goodwill. You know, this game looked pretty good. What is it? The Medium. I guess that was new. Let's see the Ascent. That was the other game that was announced. The Ascent game. It's on Steam. It's planning 2020. Okay, that's that cyberpunk top-down shooter thing. What is their wiki? Is this it? No, that's not it. Oh, what the hell's that? Oh, it's not the Ascent space game now. Age of Ascent. Well, I don't think this game has a wiki page. That's how, yeah. Oh, there it is. Is this a, who the hell? Fluff Kitten Studios? What are they called? Fluffy Kitten Studios. No, that's the space game. Oh, jeez. It's this game. There's two different Ascents. Neon Giant. Curve Digital. Oh boy. What? Yeah. Is this the developer or the publisher? Oh my god. All right. So the Ascent, right? Here you go. This is what Curve Digital makes, guys. Ember Urban Firefighters. Which I think is a game that... This is the game that they showed on Inside Xbox last month. Right? I remember seeing this firefighting game. Here's the Ascent that we saw yesterday. It looks pretty good. A nice $10 game, maybe. Peaky Blinders Mastermind. Coming. If you're ready. Human Fall Flat. That's a good game. Hot Shot Racing. And Autonauts. Yeah. Third party showcase. This goes on an indie reel. This does not, like, I don't. You're talking tall teraflops. These are not the things you lead with. And that gives the opportunity in June. And that's where Sony is going to have the same, the scenario set up the same way. Microsoft had a very bad showing in May. In 2013, they had a bad showing in May. The messaging hurt their brand. And then they showed games in June, and Sony, and they showed games in June. If they're planning to show all their games in July, and they're going to talk about Lockhart in June, now, Sony now has that opportunity in June to take all the momentum if they do announce the PlayStation 5. And they have a good showing. Like, they show the PlayStation 5. They show a great game, like single-player games running on it, things like that. And then call it a day. And then Microsoft now, and then on top of that, Sony's releasing Last of Us 2 and Ghosts to the public. So they're going to have that mind share currently. Like, oh my God, I want sequels to these games. Oh my God, I want, Ghosts 2 and, Last of Us, what's happening in this? Like look at this game. It sets such emotion. And, they're going to have that mind share. They possibly could have PlayStation 5 mind share. And then on top of all that, Microsoft's going to introduce a weaker console for next generation. Talk about cloud streaming possibly in services. And then amongst all that in July, they're going to then show Halo Infinite and what Double Fine is working on. And maybe the Fable announcement. And now they just put themselves back in the corner with all this pressure now. And Sony could have a drop the mic. Now, if Sony doesn't do anything, we'll see. But guys, we are like, it is this thing yesterday. I don't know if we're going to go back and go, remember when Microsoft revealed the games for the Series X? That was like, I don't know. I don't think it was as, It can be the devastating. Like the stuff that I've seen all over the place is people are just like Nintendo. One guy was Nintendo. He's like, "Yo, this is horrible. I don't like Sony or anybody, but they did not tell us why to own an Xbox." And that's on them, right? And this is the thing that we've been talking about. Like, they have not done a good job as to why you need to own an Xbox. And their whole venture to be everywhere, they have lost the identity of the console to try to sell it, right? And it makes it harder now with their games being on multiple platforms for them to really, they have to take even more ownership to show that. And before I go, I wanted to definitely talk to, Samantha's thing where she said, way back, she was saying about the 10 million. She says, with 10 million subscribers, do you think anything changes? And you want to know what? No. The fact when I heard 10 million subscribers, I'm like, yeah. Why wouldn't they have so many subscribers? They've basically been, first off, they've been given Game Pass. They advertise the hell out of Game Pass. Like, that's where all their energy's going. They've put it in with Pop-Tarts and Oreos and all that other stuff. It's been $1 promotion. They're basically saying, hey, play our best game for $1. Of course they're going to get 10 million. And you want to know what? The sad part is that I bet you a majority of those 10 million are all customers that probably would have paid $60 for Gears of War. And they just be like, that 10 million is not your casuals. That's not your Madden players. That's not your Call of Duty players, because those games are not in there. Those 10 million are all your Xbox Live subscribers that you were able to kind of finesse them into getting Game Pass Ultimate or just Game Pass. And they probably just subscribe to get your game. And hey, if that's what you want, that's what you want. That's where all their energy's going. I assume they know what the hell they're doing, but they basically did that. Yo, what's up, Mog? How you doing? And that's the thing, JCat. Can Microsoft deliver in July? And you want to know what? It's just like, this is what made me want to do this show, because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, wait a second. They are going to do this in July amongst all this pressure. And you want to know what else, too? You're going to have, the other third parties showing off their games and all that other stuff. And Microsoft had so many opportunities to have the stage to themselves and to have their news permeate and them have control of the message. And instead, they have waited now to show their games in July. And the problem that I have is that they should have just done their E3 show in June. They didn't need this show. They should have just said, or either they should have either talked Lockhart or something else. They should have done something, like talked more about the hardware, showed a dashboard or something during this event, or show an indie reel. Do like an indie Chris Charla showcase in May. Get the Xbox indies at Xbox show. And make that your May show. And then in June, do your full E3. Because I think if they did what they showed yesterday, in with their first party, in with like in a totality of what E3 would have been, probably, I think it wouldn't have been as, it would definitely it would have been better. But the fact that they chose to pull out that kind of third party, and remember, this is what they did last year. Last year's E3 was a bunch of the big games that they showed were all third party that were on multiple platforms. The stuff that they shown that they got were little AA games from Steam or from that went into Game Pass, and then they showed Bleeding Edge and they teased Halo and talked about a next gen console. They failed last year. They did a horrible E3, his biggest E3 ever. Yeah, because he showed everything that was going to multiplat. But anything that looked decent, anything that was a bigger game, was a third-party multiplat. It wasn't an Xbox exclusive deal or anything like that. Even the Japanese games, like the Yakuza. Somebody just said Yakuza's already out in Japan. And that's it, Mog. And that's the thing. They do too much talking. And the talking hurt them. And this is the same thing that hurt them in 2013. Too much talking. Too much trying to explain trade-ins and TV and how Snap works and the Xbox movie studio and entertainment with the TV stuff. Now, granted, they weren't talking about games, but the messaging was the problem. And that's where I say here, everybody keeps saying how Microsoft has had such great messaging. They're clear, they're transparent now. They tell you everything. Now, I don't know what transparent means, because what they did yesterday was a lie.
I lied.
They said they were going to show all gameplay, and they really didn't show enough gameplay or show any that much. And they overhyped and underdelivered. That don't sound transparent to me. And I saw Mooch's show today. He got a $400 super chat, but the guy had such a clear message going, if you have to explain it, that is bad marketing. And I said this on my Grinds at Night 2 nights ago. The fact that they had to come out and clarify all this stuff before the show, like they even told people to set their expectations. Like, oh, this is just going to be, first party's not going to be there. Halo's not going to be there. These shows are not going to be, we're not going to have a first party. They basically damage controlled, pre-damage controlled. But they got screwed over because the thing that they were promoting didn't show up and didn't deliver. It did, Mog, right? E3 2019, that hype led to some sad podcasts, man. That E3 2019, they got the stage for themselves. And Mog says it. They should just show good games. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yo, shout out to 22 people at the Grinds at Night, baby. Woo! Us gamers have no time. Oh, yeah. Get those hills. Get them out there. Sorry, Jemiah. I know he's sleeping. But you're right. Nobody got time for that. And hit the warning. Hit me with the horns, 20. Hit me with the horns. This is Xbox DEFCON 5 mode, man. The messaging backfired. And the content did not shine. And the content didn't do it justice. And that's what 2013 did. The messaging preceded the content. And the messaging was the fault. That's why when you hear all these podcasts and all these people that lived through the disaster of 2013, which I didn't think it was that bad, because I knew Microsoft just talked too much bullshit. I was like, I like Rise. That Rise looks good. Dead Rising 3 looks great. Titanfall, can't wait. That's going to be their new Halo, which that was the devastating thing for me when they didn't embrace that and just that. I was like, there's their Gears for the Xbox One. Nope. They gave it back to EA, who destroyed it. It's great. And now they do Star Wars now. But leading into it, I was like, Titanfall, when they dropped that Titanfall bomb, man, everybody couldn't wait to play Titanfall. Titanfall, Rise looked incredible. I was like, holy shit, Rise. Dead Rising 3, I love that look. They made it mature. I know, man. Samantha, that was cringe, man. He's like just shaking with his friggin' 480p camera. He's like, this is great. This is great. This is great. And what's crazy is that they were subliminally, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's like, his green screen. If you watch Major Nelson on Twitch or Major Nelson on Mixer, here's another little aspect as Microsoft, right? Let me tell you this, people. I'm saying this is where you get the education, because I follow Microsoft. Like, I follow this shit. Zoom has destroyed Skype during this pandemic. Zoom and Social Hub, or whether there's another video, Skype has seen an influx, but if you look at Windows Central and read this stuff, Darot.com, Skype, Microsoft Skype has been trash. Zoom has taken over where Skype should have been. Zoom has the background changes, right? And people are playing with it, doing Zoom social hour, all this other stuff, right? Microsoft just added that to Skype because they were so trashy. Microsoft added an update to Skype after years of just leaving that shit out to dry because to try to capture some of the influx for video conferencing during this time. And Major Nelson was playing with it on one of his shows. They were changing the backgrounds. Those guys on that show were advertising. They didn't say they were on Skype, but that is a new feature of Skype that they're using. Yo, what's up, J-Dub? How you doing, man? What are we doing up? Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Yo, it's been a wild couple of days, man. Wild, man. But they were advertising Skype feature. Oh, changing the background and all that other stuff. That's the Microsoft way. Zoom just dominated it. And this is what they do. Yeah, JW, go back. If you just came in, you got to listen to the craziness that I was just talking about. Hopefully you catch the replay. But they were messing around with Skype. And Greenberg was trying to get hyped up, and the thing is the messaging. The messaging hurt that show yesterday. It was the hype. People were expecting one thing, and they got another. In 2013, they were expecting an Xbox One reveal, and they got TV, Call of Duty, TV, Snap, Halo the show, Halo the movie. Hey, here's some other... And they got left. And, the games are coming, guys. Tune into E3. Okay. Problem was that the message killed it. Killed the momentum. And now, I don't know. We're looking back. We might say yesterday, that was not the good. That was trying to walk with two left feet. And they jumped in face first into this thing. And people are like, they'll come back from it. When? That June event seems shady as fuck right now. That June event seems really weird. Because they specified it's going to be different. I know, Lincoln Clay, man, I'm up, man. Because I had this thought that I put in here. How yesterday could be equivalent to what 2013 was with the messaging and how that is going to could potentially hurt them. And this June event that they announced, it's really weird because they're it's different. It's not going to be an inside. They're not even calling it an inside Xbox. I'm thinking it might be and now they're saying rumors that it is a Lockhart event with possibly some services and cloud services. And when you pair up Lockhart with the weaker console with some cloud ass streaming and PC streaming. Hey, Ravenflow, what's up? Yes, 2013 was DRM hell. You're right. I don't know if it'll be that bad. And the reason why I was saying that it might be is if Sony comes in 20, because remember 2013 I'm just going on the messaging. The messaging hurt that thing, and the messaging back then. I'm not saying that this is the same, but the messaging was DRM and how to trade in stuff. But again, it was also what they led with. That DRM stuff was extra. The show itself was not. They didn't lead with gaming. And people got bait and switch. They thought the Xbox was going to have a great show and all this gaming stuff, and they led with TV and Snap. And people are like, well, wait a second. They were pissed. So what I've seen today, people are pissed because you're going to show us gameplay, what next gen, why I own a Series X. Yes. Oh, man, I remember that. Arguing with the fans about what they should. Yes, Ravenflow. They had some bad PR then. You want to know what's funny? I looked up that because I went back to look at that. That guy now works for Sony Music. The guy that told people, just deal with it. Everything's online. I clicked on the link, and he's still active on Twitter, and he works for Sony Music. I was like, oh, shit. But the thing is that the messaging hurt the momentum. And here we had the messaging of they were going to show us the reason why to own the Series X. The games are going to do the talking. And the games, from the feedback, because this is not just the inner circle that we talk about, the Twitter elitists and the YouTubers. This was beyond that. Like, this was like you had WCC Tech, you had all these big YouTubers and all this stuff going like, yo, like that was horrible. What the hell are they doing? What was that? That was what kind of there was no gameplay in this, no gameplay. And again, I said this earlier, like the gameplay thing didn't. I wondered why they led with those size games, but also why they didn't make a good reasoning why to own the the Series X. Like they didn't give a good reason why. It was like it could have been any show. It didn't have to be an Xbox branded show. It was like what's this? And people are like, well, that's third party. Well, this is the third party they decided to show. Very like ho hum middle of the road third party. This wasn't Capcom on stage. This wasn't a Capcom exclusive deal or anything like that, or Square Enix exclusive deal, like a big partner. This was like Assassin's Creed was the marketing. But the thing is that Sony could come in now in June with Last of Us coming out, and Sony could talk about the PlayStation 5 and show next gen. Microsoft now gave Sony a window to take advantage of this. And that's what happened in 2013. Microsoft stumbled with their messaging and gave Sony all the bullet points that it could counter and take the mind share away from Xbox. Microsoft had the opportunity yesterday to demonstrate what next generation looks like, and the first look coming from them. Microsoft shows us what next gen looks like. They didn't do that. And now Sony could come in the rumored June event and show us next generation, and then they go, now that's next generation exclusive game with a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 demo. Again, this might not happen, but Sony could come back in June with this. And not only do they have that opportunity, but also they have two huge graphically amazing looking games coming to their current gen hardware. And amidst that whole thing, Microsoft is going to possibly talk about their weaker console with the Lockhart and cloud services coming to PC, or what cloud and Game Pass will look like in this June event. They specifically said multiple times that they will not show Halo next month, which that's their deal breaker right there. They could have counted or at least competed with Sony if Sony decides to do anything, or even Last of Us pressure by demoing the friggin' Halo Infinite. Instead, they specifically said we're waiting till July. And now you're in July, you're in between Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and possibly PlayStation 5 news. And now you're going to try to talk about what your first party is working on, what Double Fine. Is anybody going to give a shit what Double Fine's working on if you see Horizon Zero 2 or Spider-Man 2 demo reel? Like, and again, we're probably going to see trailers and stuff from Sony too. Like, that's why everybody really getting on that whole, I'm just going to leave with this thought. Everybody getting on that whole gameplay. Sony probably is going to do the same thing, showing some trailers and things like that, and maybe not gameplay. The problem with this situation was that Microsoft hyped up to tune in for the gameplay, and the gameplay wasn't there to be tuned in for. And the biggest culprit of that was the Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed screwed Microsoft. And Phil and the company made that happen by putting that shit together. They should have said, yo, this is not enough. I don't want to show our Xbox and the power of it with that trailer. That's not what I want. And they should have made the call, going like, does this show really sell the power of the Xbox? It doesn't. Yeah, Samantha says Sony could price the PlayStation 5 at $500. I think that would be a mistake to make. To lose. Yeah, it depends. Like, it depends on what Microsoft is going to do with theirs. If they're going to have that June event and talk about hardware and pre-orders opening and talk about the S and talk about cloud and that's kind of going to be their reveal, and they drop it at $500 and then Sony says, here's $500, I don't know. But if Microsoft goes ahead and does that and Sony comes in at $400 or something like that, or Microsoft goes at $600, again, anything could happen. I'm just saying what happened yesterday was a stumble. and it could be viewed, and I said, could it be the 2013? Like, could this thing? Because remember, Microsoft had so much momentum in 2013 with the 360. Like, they really stumbled with messaging and then that whole DRM thing. But the messaging and the direction of what they took messed up. And Sony had the opportunity to come in. Microsoft was leading with some momentum. Some, not a lot. With next generation discussion. They were talking, they were on point with their Digital Foundry. They had their December reveal. They did a whole breakdown. They talked about all this technology in it. They had it all to the T, and all they had to do was show the games. And when it comes to the first time to show games, to showcase this for Series X, see, Aaron was right in the fact that he could have just said, hey, if we didn't say anything and just said, hey, these games are playing here. But dude, they look what they like. If you go to, I don't know if they took it out. Let's see. Like, oh, maybe they did. Cause they've been shady with their freaking video here. They've been like uploading it, reloading. Yeah, I think this is it, right? This guy, right before this guy. No, right before this video. Is it right before this video? There we go. Like the beginning started properly, right? The beginning started, here's your boot up screen, right? And then here comes the hype, right? First look at Xbox Series X gameplay. Not first, oh, jeez, the thing went away. Here's the stamp. Is being optimized for the Series X. That's how they started it. And then they started it with this looking game. Like, oh, okay. Here we go. I don't care if this is one dude or what. This game looks pretty cool. I don't know how long it is, but this looks interesting. This looks fun. This looks like something that I'll see for next gen. Is this one next? Look at it. Oh, yeah. Like, way to go. Like, this is okay. We're going. And then this guy starts off the downfall with some goofiness, and then then we go get Dirts and Scorns and Madden, and then logos, and then this game, and then this game, and then this top down shooter. And then this guy with medium. And the thing is, another piss off thing is if medium was an exclusive for the Xbox brand, why don't you say it? Why you keep saying world premiere? If they're exclusives, you sell that. Because that's a reason to own a Series X. Right? Like people coming out like, oh yeah, well, I hear that this game's an exclusive. Medium's an exclusive only on Xbox One and Series and PC. It's like, they should have said, why are they not saying exclusivity? Like, Yakuza? Well, Yakuza's not exclusive. But, like, they didn't advertise any exclusive at all. And, again, bad messaging. The messaging was supposed to sell you on a Series X. And it didn't. And they had opportunities that some of those games possibly could be exclusive. There. And exactly, Ravenflow, the games need to speak for themselves. And if they have to, like, damage... Because remember, right before the show, they had to talk about, oh, well, curb your expectations. First party's not going to be there. Like, they kept, like, tempering the expectations. Like, then you shouldn't have the show then. Like, you shouldn't have had it. And that's the thing. Like, they shouldn't have had the show if the stuff was not ready. And I don't know why this May event occurred. And if you remember, well, I'm on podcast. I hear, they're having two events, the May event and the June event. And you know how this news permeates through social media. Two events are coming next year, and then all of a sudden, The May event now turns into, oh, it's a multi-platform showcase. Okay, so it's not going to be the lock card. Okay, the June event's going to be it. That's going to be their E3. The May event's going to be like a hardware release to get it out of the way for the June event. Oh, that's not what happened, because the May event turned out to be a multi-platform showcase. All right, it's all multi-platforms. Who do we think we're going to see? Oh, Elder Ring. We're going to see Assassin's Creed. We're going to see Cyberpunk. We're going to see all the big third party. And Microsoft shows games that were failed Kickstarters in 2014, and now they came back, and maybe they're coming to Xbox and other systems. I don't know. And I swear, if this July event that they are going to talk about for their next generation, or before their Xbox Game Studios, right? If they friggin' bring back old ass games and talk about them being Series X enhanced, and that counts for like their first party coverage, I'm gonna lose it, because that's what they do. We're gonna show 15 first party games at the show. I'm so happy about 15 first party games. Son of a bitch got updates to Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Crackdown gets an update, and then son of a bitch counts them. Oh, there's 15 on stage. Well, there's 3 of them. They're represented in first party. I don't want to hear updates to old ass games. Oh, well, I'm proud to announce that Sea of Thieves will be upgraded and utilizing the power of Series X and will earn the optimized of Series X stamp. That better not be their July event. That shit better be a fucking tweet months later, because I could care less about old ass games getting Series X optimization. And when you don't talk about what that Series X optimization is, do you see when they announced that friggin' logo? It's the same thing as the true 4K shit. Like, this is the last thing. I don't know why I'm going on this thing, because this is like, I'm probably tired just venting on this bullshit. But I just wanted to get that out there, because I'm like, if we go back and we think about it, this just leaves, and I was just thinking, like, holy shit, if Sony comes out and does that rumored June 4th and does that with their 2 games, and then they show next gen games, Microsoft missed the opportunity to really capture the like, hey, next gen, you should go Xbox for next generation. Like, even if that is a pie in the sky dream, they had the opportunity and missed it again. Same thing with XO19. Same thing with E3 of last year. They got these opportunities. So if they fail, there's no excuses, man. They hurt themselves. They sold this up. Aaron Greenberg had to apologize, saying that's on us. I commend him for that, because, it did admit that, hey, that wasn't a great show. And the fact is that it wasn't a bunch of fanboys and PlayStation people just getting mad at Sony and saying that was a trash show, blah, 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 for him to have to say that stuff. No, the pressure was high. They had to clarify before and after and apologize. Does that recall anything? They had to do the same shit in 2013. Clarifications. Sorry, that show was not going to have video games. We're going to have our video games at E3. That was more about the features and TV. They had to explain it. And it was just confusion. And now they got to go another whole month now before they're going to show games again. Until July. Because this June event is not going to showcase their first party lineup. That's what they said. They could be lying, or they could be surprising us, or whatever like that. And Mog's right. Everybody wants everybody looking at Sony to fail. They think that Sony not talking is them failing or being scared. Sony just waiting for the right moment to pounce. And after yesterday's show, if they are really having a June PlayStation 5 reveal, that's a pouncing moment there. I'm trying to see when they announced the I just want to leave it with this. Series X optimized. When they announced this friggin' logo. And on here, I'm not even going to take it from The Verge. Oh, comment from Microsoft. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the yeah. What do they say? I want their exact language. Yeah. This is what this spokesperson said. What this sticker means. And this is where you get into, and The Verge says, games optimized for Series X will showcase unparalleled load times, visuals, responsiveness, and frame rates up to 120 frames. However, it will be up to the individual developers to determine how they leverage the power and speed of the Series X, including which next-gen technologies they leverage and implement into their games. Microsoft's optimized definition includes the promise of fast load times and use of direct storage. Fast load times are obviously a byproduct of the SSD alone. So the fact that the game just runs on the Xbox Series X basically makes it optimized for the Series X because there is only an SSD in it. So this is even more finessed than the enhanced 4K, where they were actually changing, like if the resolution or HDR was changed for the enhanced logo for the Xbox One X games, it was a visual change. This optimized for, that's why it's optimized for Series X, not enhanced. The optimized just means that it's running on it. It's a hardware thing. It has nothing to do, like it's the promise of fast load times, visuals, responsiveness, of frame rates. So just the fact that the game is running with faster load times could be a reason why it gets optimized, not necessarily the resolution changes. Because think about it, if the game is already running at 4K on the Series, on the X, the resolution's not going to change on the Series X, and they're just going to be like, well, fast load time, so it's optimized. So that stamp, this optimized stamp, really does not do. It just says, hey, this runs on a Series X. And, I don't know what happens if you take a game that doesn't have this and just runs. I guess it just works, right? But this uses fast load times. But there's such a generality. But the thing is that it's kind of de facto. If it's running on the SSD, it's taking advantage of the solid-state hard drive. It's optimized. Like, unless they're going to be games that just don't function, I don't know. Unparalleled load times, I don't know. But, oh, is this it? Is this the paragraph? Yeah, this thing. Yeah, this is the last thing. Yeah. See? Games featuring the optimized Series X badge will showcase unparalleled. That's exactly what I wrote. Amazing visual fidelity. Look at these in the game. Fidelity. Next gen frame rates. So this they did say is 120 frames, but they didn't say 4K 120. Right? Nah. Faster load times, velocity, and smart delivery. Smart delivery means if an old game works on new hardware. Basically, forward compatibility is smart delivery, and that is an optimized for Series X. And that's what a majority of those games, yes, they were. Smart delivery. They didn't mention frame rates and load times. They said that, the only one they mentioned frame rates for is Dirt. And look at this. Do you see this? Do you see this? You see this? Who gives it to you? Who shows you the reality of this bullshit? You see this? What are we looking at right there?
You bastards! You vicious, heartless bastards!
Look at that term. Chat. 24 people up. Get to bed. I'm going to get to bed. What do we got here? Look at that term. True 4K. So, they're carrying that true 4K bullshit over to the Series X. So there's no more this. So that means that we could get checkerboarding, we could get up conversions, we could get native 4K. All's fun, but optimized for Series X. So there's no locked 4K on everything. I see everybody going 4K 60, 4K 60 on everything. First off, the other guy said if they want to do 30, they could do 30. We're not mandating anything, just like with the X. But look what they also brought over. So a game that has true 4K, so up-resed. Like, we're not looking at everybody's native 4K. We're going to still have checkerboarding. I just noticed that. True 4K is back. They're not just saying 4K. They're saying true 4K. So we're going to have finesse going on. We're going to have that finesse going on there. But messaging. The thing that we said going into this event yesterday when Microsoft had the advantage was messaging. They had the messaging over Sony because they were talking more and Sony wasn't talking too much, and Sony kind of dropped a very boring yeah, right? How they got away with true 4K. And now they've given the bullet points to Sony. And now Sony could either take it and really give it to them in June with another drop the mic like they did in 2013 with a price, but that's if Sony. Now Sony flutters, like if Sony goes, hey, $600, they don't show any first party games, they just talk about Call of Duty, anything can happen. But if it happens the way that, we might think, where Sony shows Horizon 2, maybe a Spider-Man, does some third-party deals, shows the PlayStation 5, shows the features, shows the dashboard, shows how the controller works, and then comes out there and go $400. Holy shit! I can't see it coming out $400. I'm thinking 5 now, but maybe $400, and Microsoft comes out and goes, well, our lock card is $400, but our Series X is $600. Oh, but you can still play the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 on either one of them. It doesn't really matter. You can even play that on your OG Xbox. It doesn't matter. Oh, and on PC, too. Did I mention Game Pass? Did I mention if you eat this box of Pop-Tarts right here, we'll give you 15 days. You could go play Gears of War and finish it? Oh, shit. Dude, and I'm not even... So, that's the surprise, right? If Sony even talks about PlayStation 5. But I'm talking Microsoft is going to show their first party in July when in the noise of Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Right in between that stuff, or right near it, Microsoft is going to have to demonstrate. And if they come up with some friggin' hokey dokey, if Halo doesn't look next generation, and they added some like free-to-play bullshit to it, and they do some Halo janky-ass bullshit, well, it's not shipping. They show Halo and they go, well, it doesn't have big team battle. It's not going to have invasion. It's not going to have all these modes. We're starting real simple, and then we're going to take feedback from the community to add modes to Halo. You're going to tell us what you want to play. Don't you dare ship me a fucking half-ass Halo, please, and tell me to tell you what you need to put in the fucking game. No, that don't cut it for Halo. This is your top of the line. This is your creme de la creme. We do not help you build Halo. We tell you shit's broken. But you don't give me 2 or 4 game modes and go tell me we're going to take feedback from the community to add game modes to that bullshit. Or tell us what you want. Halo Infinite, it's your game. It's your Halo. You tell us where you want the story to go. You tell us what modes you want us to put in there. Oh, you want a Warthog with a Gauss cannon? Oh yeah, well we'll put it in there. Just give your feedback to Xbox feedback. We'll add the Gauss cannon in the next update. Don't you fucking dare do that.
You bastard!
Don't you come out and you do that shit. Don't you dare. But guys, grinders, all 26 of you, get to bed. Hit that like button before you go to bed. But you could see that shit though, right? Like that's the kind of bullshit they would do because they have done it. You imagine they would do that? Like Bonnie did do that interview with Ryan McCaffrey. You know? And I played it a long time ago. Ryan McCaffrey, Bonnie Ross was it? Like you? Just so I got that thought out there. I played this a while ago. But you tell me if this don't sound like some kind of bullshit like that. What are you doing?
Welcome everybody to another episode of Her name on it.
That's an interesting question. That was incredibly hard on consoles. This is like a brand new console, but you can to anniversary. But campaign, but just for today if it wasn't for Halo.
Steve, particularly on the campaign side, or
more like so when you look at both Halo 4 and Halo.
Does this extended gap have anything to do with how 5 was received, particularly on the campaign side?
Here we go.
More like so when you look at both Halo 4 and Halo 5, look at it more as the technology that we have to build the future of Halo. And so we can come back and talk about the Halo 5 stories. I'm sure that's probably one of your questions. But it really was more working. The Halo engine's a very technical engineering focused engine. It's super hard for creatives to work in. Super hard for a lot of creatives to work in at one time. And we
this is that new engine
on Halo 4 on the engine to get it to look as
I think it looks
amazing for being on the last generation, the last year of the platform. We promised the team that we would do the work on the tools and pipeline for Halo 5, so it wasn't such a challenging project to develop, or challenging environment to develop on. And best laid plans, we didn't do that, and the team, rightfully so, basically called us on it. And if we were thinking about, you can only do so much on that engine, and you have a team that is incredibly hard to do. So one, we want to do more with Halo, and two, we want to have a team that can do their best creative work within our engine. So it really was taking the time off, and as we announced the Slipspace engine last year, it is all to make sure that we're building the platform for the future of Halo. So it was a huge investment, a bigger investment than we've ever done. That engine is, 18, 19 years old.
Wow.
And so when you think about where we are today, we needed to pretty much redo it. And I'm really proud of what we have now, but it took a lot of work to get there.
Cool. So Halo 5 comes around on the back of Master Chief Collection's difficult time with
Where did she get to the
I
pod
think
here?
there were concerns before we launched it. I think that be the main different story. Like I'm really proud of the gameplay that the team put together and side stories. I just don't think that
multiplayer. There have been other franchises. Evolution of
Here we go. This is the pod.
I think Halo does serve. I mean, a lot of we have research on what players play, but when you look at what our DNA is and you look at research and people, it is a beloved story, and it is like a perfectly orchestrated sandbox for an audience. Definitely wants it to be additive, which then Halo.
Here, this is the part. So I was saying, like, this is why this all like hands. She's on coke. This is when this is the part here. So the reason why I'm showing this part is like I just wanted to bring back because I did this a while ago, but she talks about Halo 5 here, Halo Infinite, right, and how they're going to change it from Halo 4 and Halo 5. So that's where I was speculating about, hey, if they come out in Halo and they go, hey, you help us build it and you do this. First off, they're using a new engine, okay? So they're right there. They're still trying to learn this new engine. She said the previous engine they worked on was 18 years old, right? So we're talking about, and the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because Halo is the savior. Master Chief is going to have to save Xbox. Finish the fight. He got one last fight to finish. He got to save Xbox. He put Xbox on the map, and he's going to die by Xbox. Halo Infinite is the game that needs to save Xbox. That is the only thing right now that Microsoft has that has the size, the scope, and the power to demonstrate the Series X, to demonstrate PC power, to demonstrate crossplay, to demonstrate campaign, to demonstrate amazing multiplayer for Xbox Live. It is the thing that's going to save. It has the potential to save the Xbox, to keep it back, to keep it on the map. I think Sony has too much momentum for them to even to go at be a 360 over Sony. No way, I don't think so, unless Sony does some crazy stuff. But Halo is it. When I heard this, I was a bit disappointed because I don't like where this could be going. Halo has to save Xbox. And it still doesn't have the power of the Halo 2 and Halo 3, so that's why it makes it even harder right now in this scope, because Gears didn't hit anymore, man. Gears 5 didn't hit like it should have. And Gears 5 was everywhere. It was on PC, it was on console, it was all over the place, Gears 5, and it still didn't hit what it should, what a Gears game would have hit in Gears 2 and 3 era, right? Just listen to what she says. I just want to leave you with this thought.
One of the things that Bungie saw, as much as we do, it's you can't take a feature away from Halo. I mean, we need to be able to, but the audience definitely wants it to be additive, which then, Halo 4, biggest Halo game ever. We promised we were not going to do that with Halo 5. Halo 5, biggest Halo game ever. And so I think it's like we keep adding things on versus kind of taking a step back and saying, what is really important, and how do we get that right and make sure that we really are focusing on what's the right story to tell, what's the right multiplayer experience, and then learning what we did with both Halo 5 and MCC. We can keep adding things on, so how do you kind of look at making sure that with each beat that we are doing the right thing, and I think that is a learning for us. But yeah, I don't think you can have one without the other with Halo. I think it is.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
It's both.
So she says gamers want the games to be additive. Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo 4 biggest game. We added more to Halo 5 biggest game. We're not doing that with this one. She says it right there. She says she said exactly what my fear is, right?
Just kind of taking a step back and saying.
Taking a step back. It's taking a step back to say what is really important in the campaign and in the multiplayer. You want to hear that Halo Infinite, they're taking a step back from Halo 5 to find out what is important, because that's what she said, right? It's gonna be focused. I'm so
game ever, and so I think it's like we keep adding things on versus kind of taking a step back and saying, what is really important, and how do we get that right?
Take a step back. It's really important. Get that right, and then what do we do?
We really are focusing on what's the right story to tell, what's the right multiplayer experience, and then learning what we did with both Halo 5 and MCC. We can keep adding things on,
We could keep adding things on. So, Master Chief is going to have to come back to Earth and save Xbox. And it's going to be July. Would be awesome if it's July 7th, but that would be Bungie Day, and Bungie doesn't do Halo anymore. But Halo is the thing that Microsoft has. It's not going to be Fable. It's not going to be Double Fine's new game. But in order to get through these two big games that Sony's going to be releasing in the same time frame that Microsoft's going to be talking about next generation, their first party games, Halo's has to show, and Halo has to be it. I don't want to see some like a little bit of gameplay of Halo, and then after it they go, well, it's just going to ship with some team deathmatch and battle and this new game mode that has these microtransactions like cards in it, these rec packs, and you're going to love playing those rec packs because you can unlock all these things, free maps. Oh shit! Like don't see. I see that shit happening. That's the thing that drives me crazy. But that's not what this is about. The main thing is that we could look back and say yesterday's thing was a tipping point. And yesterday's thing, and I heard a lot of podcasts say this, yesterday opened the door for Sony to come in and really show what next generation games look like. And Microsoft missed that opportunity with all the talking and the most powerful console. And on top of that, if Sony does that, and this is the other last point, and I kept saying the last point, but I keep thinking about these things here because what I'm thinking is that since Microsoft didn't lead with showing what next generation looks like, Sony has the opportunity to show a next generation only game and show what their system is capable of. And if Sony leads and Sony's able to show that in their showcase, if they do have one in June, it takes the power narrative, that 12 teraflops versus 10, and kills it before it even got started. And we know it's about the games. But that whole power narrative gets killed day one. Because if Microsoft comes out and shows Psychonauts 2 and State of Decay 3 and they look like Xbox One games with that enhancement sticker on it, and Sony shows like Horizon 2 that looks like incredible, if it does, if it kills, the power narrative gets killed out there. And then if Microsoft is going to say, we're going to charge you more money for that power, with their console price, that is just the second death blow to the whole thing. Like, this could go bad. Like, bad. Like, DOA bad. If this shit pans out. But Sony might mess up. You never know. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's why I just think both sides of the story. I wanted to come on here for 2 friggin' hours. Holy shit, I can't believe I've been this late. But you guys stay in here, man. If you guys would have left and went to bed, I would have went to bed. But you guys are hanging in there, chatting it up. I got to keep talking to you guys because this is the reason why I did it. Because I had this thought. I was thinking, I was like, holy shit, if this happens, we could be looking back and like, oh my God, like, is this, did Microsoft just kill themselves again with messaging when they were doing so well? Just like in 2013, they killed themselves with messaging. But they had games then. But the games didn't matter because they talked so much and they talked over themselves. And Sony sees the opportunity and destroyed them at launch with price and with, like, we're not doing that bullshit. Microsoft could be here talking about Game Pass subscriptions and Sony would be like, yo, here's a $60 game. You can buy it? And rightfully, you're right. They can't mess up the hardware and so they talk a great game. They're so confident with their hardware. I always say it. They talk so much about their hardware. They'll tell you all about their services and xCloud and hardware till you blue in the face. And Phil sounds like the most confident person. But you ask Phil, hey, Phil, what games we got? Oh, I'm proud about the games I didn't show. What the fuck? What are you talking about? When it comes to software, they're cagey as fuck. Hardware, he'll talk your ear off about the power, and cloud, he'll talk, I was in China and I was playing on my phone. Okay, that's great. What were you playing? I was playing Voodoo Vince, one of my favorite games. Like, oh, okay. What's your first party working on? Well, I'm proud about what I didn't show. It's like, oh my God. When it comes to software, he's cagey as hell. Nobody wants to talk about software. Hardware, yeah. 5 years, he'll tell us about 5 years from now how we'll be streaming to phones, but I don't know what the fuck Halo Infinite looks like. Nice. And now, when you decide to get your shit together and want to show your first party, you're going to do it amongst the noise of big third party, an EA show, probably Ubi's their stuff. You're gonna try to now show these games, these Game Pass destined games amongst big blockbuster next generation games from big third party, because you had no big third party in your showcase yesterday, except for Assassin's Creed, who basically sabotaged your whole show and gave you all the hate. And we'll be saying here that Assassin's Creed killed Xbox, because that guy did not show gameplay, and they teased that gameplay throughout the whole show, and then they showed it at the end. And that's where they got all their dislikes. It wasn't those other games. Even though it's just that those other games weren't memorable to compensate for the shit show that Assassin's Creed pulled at the end of it. And that's where it got all the hate, because they teased and they hyped up next-gen gameplay, and Assassin's Creed was the only game that people probably could remember the name of and knew the developer, because all the other games were middle, passion projects, Steam games, early access, AA, guy that made Layers of Fear and the Blair Witch Project. Who's asking for sequels from those guys? But those are the size of the games that they were talking about. And it made Assassin's Creed even have more pressure on it to demonstrate the power of the Series X. And it didn't. And now, their last-ditch effort is the July event. If June turns out to be a surprise, that would be great if they do something in June. But June sounds like it's going to be hardware. And again, I think it's a mistake. I don't think you talk June Lockhart. If Sony's really going to do June PlayStation 5, you do not talk about your weakest console right next to Sony's PlayStation 5. Because people are going to think that's your next-gen console. They're going to forget about the Series X because the media is going to run like, oh, Microsoft announced their new console. It's a weaker machine. It's a 4 teraflop machine. Oh, shit. Now you're going to pit those two together because they're going to be announced within the same month. But they hype too much, man. They talk too much. Where's my last little meme thing here? Where is it? I think I have here. Here.
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
It's not costing me money. It's saving me money, but...
Somebody's talking too much. It's costing me money.
But with that, guys, I just wanted to get some of my thoughts out there. I know people are probably not going to agree. And, again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but there's a potential, and now the door is wide open. And from listening to Digital Foundry recap and listening to just like the other bigger outlets and bigger YouTubers, big YouTubers, and just seeing the reaction to yesterday's show, I was just like, whoa, man, this is almost like, oh my goodness. Don't downplay it. Bloober, that's their name. Bloober Studios. They're going to be the next Smilegate. That's right, Smilegate. Remember them? Holy shit, Smilegate. Man, I can't wait to play Smilegate's free-to-play game. That shooter Counter-Strike game that's over a year old, I guess. Jackie Chan in Rush Hour. I like to let people talk who like to talk. Exactly. Let them talk. They're giving Sony all the bullet points. Sony played those bullet points on his thing, talking about that SSD. He didn't emphasize teraflops. He talked about SSD and reallocation of power and temperature, all that other horse shit. But I'm telling you, Microsoft's talking so much that Sony could just come back in June and go, boop, there you go. But we'll see. Sony's on the new regime too, so I'm not going to say that Sony's going to knock this. They can knock it out of the park. Will they? That's the question. That's why there's a question mark. Is this 2013 all over again? Is Microsoft's messaging hurting their brand? We got one part of the puzzle. Their branding did get hurt yesterday, especially from the reaction of everybody. Sony has an opportunity to show next generation games now because Microsoft failed to do it yesterday. And if Sony does it, they'll do it with their first party that can't be played anywhere else, which will give you a reason to own the PlayStation 5, because yesterday's Xbox show gave you no reason to own a Series X. That's in addition to all the reasons why you would own an Xbox anyway, because of all the first-party games going to other platforms day one and in a service. So, on top of that, reason not to own an Xbox console because they don't have any exclusive games. They did not prove to you the power of the Series X and why you should look forward to next generation yesterday. And now, Sony could be the one that does that. Sony's not talking. They'll just show the games and let the games speak for themselves. Microsoft has to talk teraflops and stuff like that. And I said, you want to be the big dog on the block with the big X, right? The big Series X. X is going to give it to you. It eats monsters for breakfast and bitches for dinner. Dude, yeah, Gears Tactics would have been something, right? They don't get it. They don't care. And that's what I think. If they don't care, I don't care. You know what I mean? If you don't want me to own an Xbox, I'm not owning an Xbox. But you know what? I want to play your games on PC. I want to play your games. I'd rather have some great games from Xbox. Like I don't want to see them fail. I love Halo. Like I want to play. I want Xbox to be what it used to be. But that ship has sailed a long time ago. That ship sailed away with Sea of Thieves. Got that ship. That ship sailed away with fucking Sea of Thieves in the island. That's gone. That hope. Now it's like, hey, you're gonna turn into an app. If you're going to turn into an app, at least have some decent friggin' content I can subscribe to. But if the app means you're going to give me all this hokey dokey AA bullshit, Goodwill store shopping games, budget games that were in troubled development, the studios that were closing down, like, who are you? Mother Teresa of video games, Phil? You trying to if you were selling me a Ouya, that's fine. If you were trying to sell me an indie console, Phil Spencer, then fine. Give me the indie games to go with my indie Ouya. Thank you. But you're not, Phil. You're trying to sell us a Ferrari with square wheels. Come on now. If you want to talk the big game and the most powerful and the premium content and the premium console, you need to have premium content. And that's what you've been lacking for the last few years. And the studios that you bought don't technically ooze premium, top-of-the-line, AAA content. They are middle of the road. They're not bad, but they are not the gasoline that's going to power that engine. Maybe they'll get it out of the mud, but it's not going to get that thing going. And your competition on both ends, Nintendo and Sony, are delivering big games. Animal Crossing took the world by storm. It doesn't have to be a game where you cut your head off, but they're big games, and they're getting gamers' attention, and that's what you did not do yesterday. And now you had an opportunity to gain, and you had the stage to yourself yet again. You want to hear this again? Go listen to my top video that had about 700 views on it, where it says Xbox gets no respect, and the other one behind that one, which got like 500. You're not going to like this. My recap of last year's E3. I probably said the same shit. You had the opportunity, and you dropped it, and this has been what they've been doing. And every time they have an event, you think they're going to do something, and they don't. And they fall flat on their face, and they just trip over their own feet. It's like they tied their two shoelaces together and walked out the door and fell right on their face. And you can't blame anybody else but them. People are like, oh, well, Sony just showed us a controller. Sony's not even in this conversation. Microsoft tripped over themselves. They overhyped something and underdelivered. And whether they underdelivered or Assassin's Creed, they chose to show that. They knew what that content was. They put that video package together. They knew what they were talking about with gameplay. And they said, hey, you want to see some gameplay? And Assassin's Creed was it. The rest of it was fodder. The rest of it was games that were forgettable. And that's why. If they had a Capcom and if they had Cyberpunk and they had all these other games there and Assassin's Creed, I don't think the hate would have been that much. But because they had a bunch of hokey dokey Steam games in early access and the top-down shooters and all this other stuff. Top-downs and little hokey-dokey games. And then your headliner failed. You live and die by your headliner. Yes, Ravenflow. Stevie Aoki did a concert on Fortnite. I watched it. It was awesome. Replay will be tomorrow because I'm going to watch it again at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Fortnite. They have 3 DJs. Even DJ Dead Mouse is the third one. It's pretty cool. I don't think it's as cool as the other show that they did a couple of weeks ago, but it's pretty awesome. It is pretty damn awesome. You have paint guns and shit like that. Yo, I don't know if I'm gonna get dislikes for this one, but I'm all about that Fortnite, and it's probably because my son will have been playing it. Yo, it is it's a good game. I like what they're doing. The content the content is pretty entertaining in that, and tomorrow at 2 p.m. they're doing a replay of the show, and it was fun. Like the people had the Travis Scott concert. That thing was awesome. Holy shit, that was friggin' insane. They changed the music. They changed it was like you're living in a music video. That was insane. You're playing in a music video. That shit is awesome. That is like, we need more of that. Fortnite, yes, it's doing that, but man, we need more of that stuff. That shit, that's so cool. And I hope the games do more of that stuff. It's like a virtual concert, and people like shooting the paint guns, and we were fishing in the water, pulling out like hamburgers and throwing them at people. It was funny that people were doing all their dance moves, and it's cool because you can show off all your custom content, like all the little crazy outfits that you got and dances. Everybody's dancing and putting up chairs, like freaking cool as hell. I was like, damn. But with that, thank you again, guys. Hit that like video, share it out. Hit that subscribe button too. If you haven't subscribed, I've been doing these grinds. These ones at night, which I was just sitting there watching TV and I was listening to some podcast, and I just had this thought. But what other games should do a concert? I like Fortnite has turned into like a perfect like environment for that because it's quirky, but it's like they introduce all this crazy stuff. But I'm trying to think like who else like could do a concert like that had that kind of quirky stuff. Like I could see Destiny doing a concert, like in one of like at the hub, Destiny could do it. They got the dance moves and shit like that. Like they could do that. But yeah, man, I would say like that was another missed opportunity, like with the avatars. Like when Microsoft remember they made a big deal about introducing the new avatars, and they made them in all 3D, and they gave them like they made them look more human, for what? So you could dress them up in some basic clothing and take a picture of them for your profile picture. They didn't implement them in anything. When they used those avatars on the 360, like all your friends had their avatars, they were wearing different outfits. Like you would get achievements and get different outfits and wear them, and like you look at your friends lineup and it'll be all different. Like one guy was dressed up as a Spartan, one was dressed as a Gear. It was cool because everybody will show their accomplishments, their achievements with their avatars, with those guys. And Microsoft spent the time to redo them all. I remember that was a big update. What, like 2 years ago? They redid all the avatars. For what? There's no store to buy clothes. Like, you just there's a basic clothes and colors. But, like, that would have been a great opportunity for, like, some sort of a social. This is what I mean. Like, Xbox they did this stuff already. How can you not evolve it now? Like, how can you just scrap it all? This is the stuff that drives me crazy. Like, if you were a true Xbox fan, these are the things that would grind your gears. Like, I don't understand how you forget this stuff and want to just whip out and talk about teraflops. I just don't understand how you have become to that state of mind. If you really were a true Xbox fan, that was the stuff that kept you on the platform. That was the cool stuff. That's what created these communities that people now have podcasts about. That was the essence of it. And they started this stuff. They did this stuff. How do you fall from grace and just ignore it and throw it out the window and give us old services and bullshit and mediocrity now when you guys led? You led. Call of Duty knocked off Halo. It doesn't matter if it knocked off Halo. I'm talking about the avatars, the online communities they had. They had a virtual arcade with all the retro games. You could go into the arcade with your avatar and play all the retro games that you bought. You bought Pac-Man, you bought Asteroids, you bought the stuff. They showed up in a virtual arcade that you could customize, and it was almost like a virtual emulator. And you have your avatar and go into a virtual arcade, and you could invite your friends, and you could see two of them on a computer, on an arcade machine, a virtual arcade. Go look it up. It was the Xbox Arcade. Then they had 1 versus 100, where you could take your avatar with your accomplishments and play in the trivia games every night. You know how crazy a 1 versus 100 would be right now? It would that kind of game would friggin' blow the hell up when people are now sitting in quarantine. A multiplayer game where you're sitting around and answering questions like a live TV show, but you're using your avatars and it's a live game show every night. Do you know what kind of traffic they would get? It'll probably crash the servers down. They had that 1 versus 100 with a live host, and they would pick somebody out of the crowd to answer questions, and then you would win Microsoft points to buy games. Dude, it wasn't supported. It probably cost a lot of money too. But in today's world, shit. In today's world, you could probably get get dealer. Make the YouTubers have content in a friggin' thing. They would probably love it. Get a YouTube Xbox channel or something like that and say, yo, host a game show for the community. Dude, there's so much opportunity there to evolve Xbox Live. You did this already. That back in 2000, I was thinking oh my God, what will we be doing in 2020 if I'm doing this now? Right? I'm sitting there in 2010 going, holy crap, look at this arcade avatar. Everybody's doing PewDiePie, yeah, right? All this stuff. I'm sitting there going, if I'm doing this now, what am I going to be doing 10 years from now? I did not think that I'll be sitting 10 years from now on a goddamn microphone telling the world, where are the games? Where are the features? Where is the content from Microsoft? If you go back and slap me back in 2010 or 2011, in 2008, 2009, 2010. If you went back 10 years and said, "Hey, Grind, you know that they don't do any of this 10 years from now, right? All these games you're playing go on PC. They're promoting indie games now. All those summer of arcade games, yeah, that's your content now. They don't have big blockbusters anymore." Fucking Ravenflow, they could use Mixer. They could host a goddamn game show on friggin' Mixer and have your avatars join the game show in a concert. They could have a concert. They could have Mixer streaming into an environment. You have your avatars in there. Yeah, they never had blockbusters. They had enough shit to keep me busy in the 360, I'll tell you that. But, they could have Mixer live streaming gameplay. They can make Mixer like a virtual, movie studio. That was always a bullshit lie you debunked. Well, it's not. It was nice. Yeah. No, Halo was a blockbuster in its day. Halo 2, even Halo 3, that was hype show, definitely. And Gears 1 and Gears 2, and even Gears 3 too. But then that's enough of that. But yeah, now you got me on a whole thing all this potential. But yeah, that's a show for another day, But thank you again for tuning in, guys. It's very late. Holy Jesus. It's late. These grinds after dark, but my God. You guys stay up. I appreciate the support. Like, share the video. Follow me over on Twitch, too. I haven't got any followers over there. I got 35 now, but if any new ones, definitely. What grinds my gears 7780, and definitely hit the like button on your way out. And good night, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see where this goes. It's gonna be an interesting next couple of months. That's all I gotta say with that. So, with that, guys, I am Ghost.